Raider Nation, what's going on? It's Mitchell Renz here, host of the Raiders Report with, I think, probably the best Raiders live show that I've done on a Tuesday in a very, very long time. We're going to talk about Geno Smith not wanting to be a member of this football team. I'm going to look at a 2026 NFL draft plan, and also coming up here on today's show, we're going to talk about some Raiders head coach replacements because Pete Carroll is going to get fired. Before we get into that, though, the Las Vegas Raiders, they ended up claiming cornerback. Please forgive me. I have been trying to get this name right for 30 minutes or 40 minutes plus at this point. Chigozie Anusiem. That's, I believe, as close as that we're going to get. We're going to call him Chig, just so all of y'all know. Now, he was a UDFA. He's somebody that's been on the Arizona Cardinals practice squad. But when you talk about what Pete Carroll looks for in a cornerback, this is Kyu Blu Kelly replacement. The Raiders did end up placing Kyu Blu on IR, thus ending his season with that patellar tendon injury, or as my guy Nabman was joking about yesterday when we were all talking, the particular tendon injury. But this is a move that, again, to the active roster, to the 53-man, this is somebody that I always am going to talk about. I'm not going to overly focus on him as a player. Quick little notes on him, though. 6'1", 200-pound, physical, very athletic corner, runs like a 4.39 40 overall. If you know what the RAS score is, it kind of measures how good of an athlete is. I believe it was like an 8 on the RAS score. More of a zone cornerback, but this is somebody that when you claim somebody off the practice squad, you go to that active roster, and because the Raiders decided to go about and do that move, whether it's a minor move, whether it's breaking news, if it's news, I'm going to do my best to keep you guys up to date here. So make sure that you subscribe to the Raiders Report. That way you never miss a thing. Also, coming up here on the show, Geno Smith, once out of Las Vegas. I literally just dropped a video on the Raiders Report YouTube channel, I would say probably about 30 minutes ago, and I outline a lot of the reasons why I believe Geno Smith wants out of Las Vegas. I outline a lot of the reasons why I was told Geno Smith wants out of Las Vegas, and the first reason is I was told by members of Geno Smith's family. If you don't know exactly what I'm talking about, this is something that I have brought up on this YouTube channel before, and I did my due diligence. I did my homework. If you want a little bit more information on it, this video, like I said, just dropped on the channel. The thumbnail says Geno wants out. I encourage you to go check it out. I also had my sources' comments tell me that Geno could potentially fake an injury, and this was something that I was told on Thursday during the Cowboys and Lions game, not in the middle of the game, but I told all of y'all right around that point. It was either that day or I told you on Wednesday. It was one of those 2 days, no doubt about it. And let's face it, like, the Geno Smith situation is an interesting one, and I'm not saying that he faked an injury. All I am saying is, like, if I get told by an agent that he could fake an injury, and then Geno Smith suffered 2 different, I'll call them minor injuries against the Broncos, and then was unable to return, and Pete Carroll doesn't have the status on him, yeah, of course I'm going to sit up here and wonder if my source, what they told me, was 100% accurate. My question to all of you, though, is this. Do you want Geno Smith to start this week against the Eagles? Give me a yes. Give me a no. I talked about this even in the video that I dropped bright and early this morning. It's probably at like 9 a.m. My freaking fire alarm started to go off, and Chuck was like, dude, what on earth is happening? I said in that video that, yes, I want Geno Smith to start this week for the Raiders up against the Eagles because I said, I believe Geno Smith gives you the best chance to lose. And you can hate me for saying it. I hate myself for saying it. I want the Raiders to lose the next 4 games. I want the #1 overall pick because I think it attracts the best head coach possible, which is really why I really wanted to be able to do the show today where I talk about some of the top head coach candidates. I see Luda down there below. I see Mike down there below. I see Kelly, I see Jeff, and I see a multitude of different answers in regards to whether or not they want Geno Smith to start. I don't know if y'all saw the Pete Carroll comments. Can you show the quote real quick? And to me, I know Pete challenged us Raiders fans and was like, we're going to need the fans to support us. That happened after the Denver Broncos game. That happened after a game where it was all Broncos fans in the stadium. The loudest cheers of the day for the Raiders were the Kenny Pickett touchdown to Shedrick Jackson. Also when Geno Smith walked off the field. You know, if I got sources telling me, and I got people telling me that Geno Smith doesn't want to be a part of this organization anymore, I guarantee you Geno Smith has had a conversation with Pete Carroll about it. I don't think Pete Carroll would do anything about it because Pete has shown me nothing but I care more about Geno Smith than the Las Vegas Raiders. But to me, I find it interesting that I am hearing all of these things that I am hearing. Where there is smoke, there is fire. And Pete knows if Geno Smith is going to force his way out next offseason, then Pete's not going to have a job in the next season. So I really think that Pete's trying to save his job, and he's trying to tell Raider fans to support us because he knows if Raider fans don't support him and don't support his quarterback, he ain't going to have a job next season. Also, I don't blame Geno's family for coming after me. I don't blame Geno Smith for wanting out of Las Vegas because the hate is mutual, right? Like, Geno's actions on and off the field have shown me that he doesn't want to be a part of this team anymore. He looks like a quarterback that cashed it in. He's telling F you to fans. He's flipping off fans. But then again, it's like I'm a big body language guy, right? And I'm not going to sit up here and act like I can read people's minds. But man to man, I think if I see a grown man who's pouting all the time, who, again, man, there's one video, and it pisses me off because there's a few Raiders fans that I look at as almost like a grandfather figure, and I hope that Violator don't get mad at me for that. I hope Gorilla Rilla doesn't get mad at me for that. But I think that what I'm about to say resonates with Raiders fans. If the Violator looks at you and says, hey, XYZ Raider player, guess what? You better go up to that guy, and you better shake his hand. You know, if the Gorilla looks at you as a Raiders player and reaches out to you, you better go shake Gorilla Rilla's hand. And when I saw the video of Geno Smith totally blowing off Gorilla Rilla, you're damn right it rubbed me the wrong way because it makes me think of something my dad used to always tell me when I was a kid. If your grandfather and your grandmother ask, you don't ask why, you do it ASAP and you don't ask questions. Why? Because you respect not only your elders, but you respect your grandparents. And again, Gorilla Rilla, I don't know how old you are. Violator, you and I have met a bunch of times, but like to me, if Gorilla Rilla and Violator and some of these great Raiders fans that have shown nothing but love and support to this team for years in the Black Hole and in Las Vegas, if they're just saying a simple like, hey, and you blow them off, yeah, man, of course that's going to rub me the wrong way. So I understand the hate's mutual. But then like the biggest reason is the Geno Smith contract. And the money tells me everything that I need to know because the Raiders, they gave Geno Smith $58.5 million fully guaranteed. Guess what? He can actually get that extra $8 million if he is injured. So if you go on over the cap and you look at Geno Smith's contract, you're going to see two sides. You're going to see one side is if cut, $18.5 million, and then the Raiders savings of $8 million. Well, that $8 million saving if Geno is cut, the only way that you don't get that money if you're the Raiders, the ultimate way that Geno Smith can screw over the silver and black, and I'm saying this, and I don't want him to see this video. I hope he doesn't see this video. But the ultimate way that he could screw over the Raiders is if he's injured, and then he makes that extra money. But Geno Smith also knows that no matter what, whether he's on the Raiders or he's not on the Raiders, he makes $18.5 million because of the contract that Pete Carroll gave him this past offseason. So if I'm Geno Smith, I'm going, all right, I'm going to make $18.5 million. I'm going to demand my way out of Las Vegas, and then I can go sign another contract elsewhere. And the statement that Geno made, I think it was about 2 weeks ago, about like his future, and he was like, no matter what, I'm going to be good. That's kind of, I think, a way for him to say, like, I'm already letting y'all know that I'm getting ready to go out the door because no matter what my future is, I'm going to make $18.5 million next season, whether I'm on the Raiders, whether I'm not on the Raiders. And if I think the way that Geno has acted this entire year, all he cares about is money at this point. And I think he's cashed it in as the Raiders quarterback. And that's why I am a big believer that Geno Smith wants out of Las Vegas. Now, here's how I want you guys to get involved. We got over 600 people here already on the Raiders Report. And if you want to get your questions, you want to get your comments on the show, it's hashtag Raiders or Super Chat. Also, if you do Super Chat, we got tons of deals on the program today. Like Real Cowboy, you just got yourself an entry for a chance to win a signed Max Crosby helmet and a signed Max Crosby football. I actually just got them today. they're in the other room out there. They also have the authentication, so that way you can verify that Max Crosby is the actual person that signed it. If I give you guys anything that's signed, I will always have the authentication letter. Is that the right way to say it? Say it. There's like JSA certified. There's like COA certified. There's like all these different certifications. And again, they just prove that Max Crosby signed it. Different organizations. Real Cowboy. Last night's game was like watching the Raiders play the Raiders painful. You know, when you see 8 turnovers in total, 5 for Philadelphia, 3 for the Chargers. I believe the stat that I also heard last night was there was 11 plays, 5 turnovers in a span. At least like 5 changing of the hand, because there was that one play where Jalen Hurts threw the interception, and then it was returned by the Chargers player. He fumbled, picked up by Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts fumbled, and it was picked up by the Chargers. Like, crazy game. But the reason why I did the video that I did this morning, Real Cowboy, is, you know, I've been saying up here the Raiders are going to lose to Philadelphia. The Raiders are going to lose to this team. The Raiders are going to lose to this team. I mean, that Philly game makes me a lot more nervous. I said I was a 4 out of 10 on the nervous scale that the Raiders weren't going to lose to Philadelphia. And then I asked our Eagles host today, Chase Sr., I go, dude, you know, what's your confidence level that the Eagles are going to beat the Raiders? He said 6 out of 10. Now, that was also in the morning, and he was also probably a little bit upset about how that game went last night. I know I would be. But, like, in Philadelphia, where the Raiders have an extra day of rest, coming off a game where they lost on Monday Night Football in an overtime game, I'm not going to lie to you, I am a lot more nervous about that Eagles game than I thought I was ever going to be, because Geno Smith also might not play. That helps out Philadelphia, I guarantee you that. Let's go to a man, Suavemente. Mitch, were you actually stuck in an elevator yesterday? Did I say that? And so, did anyone? Did I mean, was I actually stuck in an elevator yesterday? Yes. I can show you the video on my phone because I slacked. We got a Slack channel here, and I'm like, dude, I don't know how to get out of here.
Did you say that yesterday?
I don't. Did I tweet it out? Did I say it on a show yesterday? Did I say it like?
It was after our live. We went live for. Well, we were supposed to be live for the Pete Carroll presser, except he's an absolute wuss, and he's scared to have us live react. I still believe the conspiracy theory, Mitch, that they know that we're live reacting, and they wanted to screw us over because we were live. Regardless, Mitch was. I think you were going to the gym for a second.
No, I'll be very honest with y'all. We don't have a lot of bathrooms on our floor. So I was
taking a meeting on 2.
Well, no, I was trying to take a meeting on 13. So I'm like one of the only guys here at Chat Sports that has access to the gym, but that's because I've asked for the access. So I have to go down the elevator, go across the hall, go up to floor 13, private gym bathroom all to myself. If it's TMI, it's TMI. So I'm going to head down, and I mean, imagine.
It's like that bathroom from Rick and Morty where he's just sitting there, and it's the field.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, it's peace. There's nobody in there. You can even lock the door. I mean, as a man, like, I don't want to have to drop a number 2 next to somebody else where I can see their shoes.
The
I don't
worst
want to
is
do
when
that.
the guy next to you is like grunting. Like,
yeah, and we got some grunters here at Chat Sports. I'll just say that.
Not enough fiber in the Chat Sports diet. I'll say that.
Not enough people eat their vegetables here. So I'm not going to lie to y'all, that was the bigger panic for me. I go, like, am I going to have an issue here? Because, again, I've had some issues with my stomach over the past week and a half. So when that alarm bell goes off in my head, I don't got a lot of time. So I was hustling to try to get to the bathroom. I got locked in the elevator, so I had to message everybody here at work. And I was like, dude, I don't know how the hell to get out of here. But, yeah, true story. I don't even remember talking about the elevator thing. So the fact that you know that, I don't know how that's possible. I don't know how that's possible. Rich Wolf, 44 Rivers, better quarterback than Geno, Hurts, and McCarthy. I'm actually happy you bring this up, Rich, because wink, wink, nudge, nudge. We're going to talk about this a little bit later on today's program, because I would say this is probably one of the biggest NFL news going down right now, that Philip Rivers signed with the Indianapolis Colts. I don't know if I agree with your statement. I would still take Jalen Hurts over Philip Rivers. I don't think it's close there. Rivers hasn't played in an NFL game in, God, how many years? 4 or 5 years? So 2020 was the last time. And I know like what people think of Philip Rivers. The interesting story there is apparently Rivers and Shane Steichen, the head coach of Indianapolis, they talk on a daily, weekly basis because apparently Phillip Rivers' offense that he installed with his high school football team, where his son Gunnar is the quarterback, is the same offense that Indianapolis uses. So there was a level of understanding there. But, like, I know Deshaun Watson's a shitty human being, but Deshaun Watson sat out 1 year of football and just looked completely different. I just have a hard time believing that somebody who hasn't played in the NFL in 4 or 5 seasons is just going to go in there and do their thing. It's going to be a fun story to watch, no doubt about it. But I'll tell you this right now. I really do not think he might be better than Geno. I don't know about the other two, and that's even come from me because I'm not very high on McCarthy or Hurts. Let's go to Rebel, Montana. We have the Timo version of Phillip Rivers. I can't believe Phillip's wife allows him to do it. You know, like, he's got, what, 10, 11, 12 kids at this point? I don't know if he just doesn't want to be at the house, but, like, at the same time, I guess, if you get the opportunity to go play in the NFL and you think that you can still do it, it's going to be a fun story. But if Phillip Rivers ends up being a success, I can't believe somebody doesn't pick up the phone then and try to give Andrew Luck a call. Honestly, like, for what you're going to do, that could have been another good person to add to the list.
I know. I messed up. I didn't have him on the list.
I just thought of it. I think all your guys are way more likely than Andrew Luck.
Yeah, I mean, he's 95 pounds right now.
Who?
Andrew Luck.
Stop it. I don't even want to know what that would look like. Somebody that hairy, that's 20 pounds of hair.
Yeah, Andrew Luck is like...
It's like when you shave Sadie.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, God. Aiden O'Connell fan, what's up, my man? It's AOC time.
Do you see the profile pic?
Oh, my God.
It's Tom Brady with AOC's head on it.
Yeah, I'll tell you this. I don't know who's doing that crop job, but I actually thought it was somebody taking a dump.
William Vernoy. What's up, my guy?
As much as I would love to watch Aiden O'Connell play, I am concerned that Aiden O'Connell would be the best Raiders quarterback out there and would give us the best shot to win a game. Like, again, to me, I got my tank hat on. I hate that I have my tank hat on. I told myself I wouldn't get into this situation. I told all of y'all how many times this offseason this year that I'm not going to be Team Tank. I literally just did a video like 3 or 4 weeks ago. I'm not going to be Team Tank. I don't think people understand how bad Pete Carroll has done, and I really don't think how people are starting to realize. I think actually people are starting to realize how bad Pete Carroll has done because some of these younger players are starting to look a lot better. And I want to give a shout out to my man Mo Mott, and he had a tweet today that I couldn't agree with more. It's funny that there's actually people out there that think that Pete Carroll deserves credit for the way that these young rookies are playing, but the only reason why the young rookies are playing is because all the guys that Pete thought were going to do a better job are going down with injury, so he's kind of forced to play them. And even like when he was forced to play them, I feel like he was very hesitant to play a lot of these guys. So I would love AOC, but Aiden O'Connell gives us the best chance to win. And unfortunately, a win this year, like if you win, think of like the top head coaches that you want the Raiders to get. I honestly think if you win one game, you could take every coach that I'm about to talk about coming up here on this show, and I almost think that you could throw them out the window because if you don't have that number 1 overall pick, if you don't have that path to a quarterback, you're not going to get a good head coach unless there is somebody else who either wants to leave their job or maybe there's somebody that is currently not employed in the NFL that would be interested in taking the job. But if a young, innovative coach, you ain't getting anyone like that. Suave, I knew because I was on the Vikings channel.
Damn,
so I must have...
Seeps just outed you like that.
Seeps must have outed me. That's all right. Hey, I couldn't believe... What's funny, though, if you were to look at our Slack channel, it's all blame Geno, blame Geno. People were putting Geno Smith as, like, the guy working on the elevator, and they knew the assignment. Arbara, what's up, my man? Mitch, in your previous videos, you mentioned Brady had his eyes on C.J. Carr in 2027. What happens now with how this season is gone? Do the Raiders wait it out with another veteran, or do they actually pull the trigger on Mendoza and more? I did get told by a source that the number 1 quarterback that the Raiders had their eyes on for 2027 was C.J. Carr. That's been a name that I've heard multiple times, but you got to look at the connection. The C.J. Carr connection is with Tom Brady, John Spytek Carr's grandfather, Lloyd Carr, coach both Spytek and Tom Brady. Again, I'm not saying that like that's their plan all along, I've heard that that's a plan that they are considering, but I also was told that, man, I don't even know how many weeks ago at this point. And I don't think anybody in the Raiders organization expected them to be at where they are. The plan all along was to have Geno Smith be the quarterback this season and be the quarterback next season. The contract tells me that. $0 million guaranteed in the year 2027 was going to be the year that they were going to try to get out of it, but $26 million next season would have been Geno Smith's salary cap, and then it balloons up to $39 in 2027. Because that situation's not going to happen anymore, I will say this. I have not heard anything on Mendoza. I have not heard anything on Dante Moore. I have not heard what the Raiders could potentially do or won't do at the quarterback position this offseason. But one of the things that I'm going to talk about today on the Raiders Report is I'm going to give you my Raiders draft plan. I'm going to give you a plan because, to me, the Raiders, you could say Pete Carroll, you could say John Spytek, Tom Brady, whoever came up with the Raiders draft plan last offseason, you failed. You did. And the number one way that I know that you failed and you didn't put a proper plan together, imagine drafting Ashton Genty at number 6 overall, and then your only plan was to sign Alex freaking Kappa and take JPJ away from center. There's a lot of other examples that prove that Raiders draft plan was a bad one, but to me, like, we're talking A, B, C, 1, 2, 3 type of draft plan. So if there's anybody out there that gets mad at me for putting a plan together, if there's anybody out there that gets mad at me for me saying, like, I think I know how to put a Raiders draft plan together better than the current organization, I would encourage you to go look at John Gruden, Mike Mayock, Josh McDaniels, Dave Ziegler, Antonio Pierce, Tom Telesco. And what's crazy is AP and Telesco probably put the best plan together out of any of the regimes that we've had. And then John Spytek and Pete Carroll. I'm doing this video today to just give you guys my opinion because I think that you can go about it in a multitude of different ways, but you got to have the right plan. So what would you guys do? Let's say right now, Raiders have the opportunity to draft a quarterback in round 1. Would you draft a QB in round 1? Give me a yes, give me a no. If you want to be an overachiever, and if you want to tell me what quarterback you would draft, please let me know down below. While those answers are coming in, can we just show the deals before you go to that wheel real quick? I've seen a few super chats today. We got over 800 people here in the building, and yes, the Raiders did sign a cornerback. It is the replacement for Kyu Blu Kelly. They placed him on IR. I'm gonna do my best to get his name right. His name is Chigozie Anusiem. It's a tough one. We're gonna call him Chig, man. He's claimed off the practice squad from the Arizona Cardinals, so I just want y'all to know that. But today's deal is this. $5 super chat, you get one raffle ticket for a chance to win a signed Max Crosby helmet and a signed Max Crosby football. The winner of the raffle doesn't get both of those items. One person gets one person gets the other. So we're going to do 2 winners this month. $10 Venmo you're going to get in our duck race. So if you want a chance to win a little bit of money, you're in. If you send in a $20 Venmo, I'm going to spin the Max Crosby raffle wheel. And I saw the 50 that came in from Arbora. So what I'm going to do, Arbora, whatever it lands on, I'm going to give you those tickets. If you want to double them, I'll let you figure out however you want to do it. $100 super chat is one bang and a wheel spin. If you want a chance to win some money via the Ducks, if you send in a $100 Venmo, I'm going to count that as one bang for our December bang competition. And I'm going to give you 5 Ducks today in our Duck race. We're going to mix it up a little bit.
Let's mix it up. And because we just said that about Arbora.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
What you want? What you want? You want to make that 50? I don't know what you're going to do. Let's do it. F it. Let's get a little bit weird today. Let's get a little bit weird today. So, Arbora, can you go back to it then real quick for me? We're going off the rails. Arbora! Bang! Give me a little bang action today for my man. This is one of the local OGs. Back when we used to do locals for the best content, personal interaction, and live shows. Shout out to the great R.I.P. Brandon Jasper. 40 tickets, my man. 40 tickets. I mentioned locals yesterday on our Monday Night Football IG call with everyone, and Venthrak was like, yeah, Brandon used to love that stuff. I think it's just because, again, there would only be like 8 or 9 people that would join the live show, and we really just got to know each other, I think, really well. Very similar to a lot of the IG calls that we've been doing over the past few weeks. OC! OC, I just saw your Venmo, and if that's what you want to do, I got you. I just still send me your shipping address, though, if that's possible. I'll just send you something. So, pretty wild, though, dude. Pretty freaking wild, man. Caleb just picked her up from preschool. Reese says, "What's up, Uncle Mitch?" What's up, Reese? Only want to watch Pickett to be entertained better, but I'm still team number one pick. See, what scares me about Kenny Pickett against the Eagles, revenge game. And, revenge games scare me. Kenny Pickett played on Philadelphia in 2024. I'll also say, though, like Philadelphia probably knows Kenny Pickett better than any other quarterback on our roster, so maybe they can scheme for him better because Vic Fangio, the DC in Philly, was there when Kenny Pickett was there. Like, to me, in terms of where I would rank the Raiders quarterbacks for who I want to start this week against the Eagles, Geno Smith, number one. Number two, I would say, would be Cam Miller. Number three would be Kenny Pickett. Number four would be Aiden O'Connell, and that's based on who I think has the best chance to give us a win. So I hear what you're saying. You want Kenny Pickett from an entertainment value, but I really think that Kenny Pickett could beat the Philadelphia Eagles because that offense is struggling. And when they're turning over the football the way that they're turning over the football, that makes me even more nervous because there's no way, I said it today in my video, if the Raiders have 0 turnovers and the Philadelphia Eagles have 0 turnovers, Philadelphia Eagles win that football game. If Philly turns it over 2 or 3 times and the Raiders win that turnover battle, that's going to give them a shot to win. And right now, there's a lot of issues with that Philly team. Let's go back to, is this a new pick? Are you just going to switch it up on me every time? Phillip Rivers is going to have the best performance or throw 4 interceptions. I think it's supposed to be GOAT.
Oh, no, of all time.
Oh, of all time. And or throw 4 interceptions and look like Celtics Shaq.
Nothing in between.
I mean, if I'm Indianapolis, I'm asking Phillip Rivers to throw the football maybe like 12 or 13 times. It's going to be a healthy dose of Jonathan Taylor, and if it's third down and maybe longer than 5, that's when I would consider throwing with Rivers. But, I mean, yeah, it's going to be interesting, man. I'll tell you this, I can't wait to watch it. Johnny Rader, I love this team. Tired of Geno disrespecting it. Couldn't agree with you more, man. And that's why, like, the Pete Carroll comments of, like, you got to show us, like, support. I mean, again, man, like, to me, support's not given. Support's earned. And there's nothing that this organization has done this season that has earned our support. Again, I'll always support the Raiders. We'll always support each other. That don't mean I got to support Pete Carroll or Geno Smith, though. I'm rooting for Rivers to get his first ring.
I'm not.
Yeah, I know Texans are in right now at the number 7 seed. I will say it would be an unbelievable story for Phillip Rivers to get in. But, man, oh, man, I just don't see it happening. Like,
Phillip Rivers.
I just don't see it happening.
If somehow Phillip Rivers got into the playoffs with this Colts team and him being the quarterback, it would be like JMU getting into the college football playoff and going up against Oregon. They're going to get slammed in round 1.
Yeah, I agree. I think the JMU game, I don't know. I've had people outside of this office be like, oh, well, a 16 seed can beat a 1 seed in March Madness. I think the biggest difference, don't get me wrong, a lot of talent different for March Madness. Basketball is a very different game. But, like, the level of talent difference in football, it's more or less in the trenches, is why I think JMU's, it's going to be a bloodbath. And if I'm wrong, then, I'm not saying, like, it's not a fun thing. Like, I'm going to watch all the games, but it's going to be wild.
Eric Velasquez, my coaching wish list for next season, Mike Tomlin for head coach, Brian Daboll for OC, and Brian Flores for DC. Well, Flores won't be a DC anywhere else because he's already a defensive coordinator, so I don't see him taking a job somewhere else unless he gets fired by the Vikings, and I don't necessarily see that happening. Yeah. The defense hasn't necessarily been the problem for the Vikings this year. Daboll as OC and Tomlin as head coach. I think you're going to have to trade for Tomlin, but I think it's more likely that you hire Brian Daboll as the head coach.
I think, to me, again, I don't want to give away some of the people that I have on my show today, but you're going to hear at least one of these names on my show, definitely 2 of these names, maybe all 3. I don't know. But you'll see what I'm going to talk about. But I agree. Flores, the only way you're going to hire Flores is if he's the head coach. He's not going to take a different job. Who do we trade or keep, Pickett or AOC? Well, Pickett's a free agent, so Pickett's gone next offseason. You bring back Aiden O'Connell. He's got 1 year left on his deal. And then what's the status on JPJ and Colton's injuries? From what I understand, Colton's been trying to get back out onto the field. But I'll also say this from somebody who, again, I have not talked to JPJ directly. I have not talked to Colton directly. I'm close with them and some of their people that they are connected with. But I'll just say this. I don't think either of them is going to return this season. And that's because, again, like, people can believe me or however they want. Pete Carroll ain't coming back next season. He's not going to come back. And I know that this front office is already eyeing next season, and they're already thinking about what's best for next season. You got to have a 100% fully healthy Colton Miller. You got to have a 100% fully healthy Jackson Powers Johnson. And this organization is going to get a lot more by playing a Caleb Rogers, a Charles Grant, some of these younger players to, again, just see what they got. That way we go into the offseason, we just know what we have a little bit more. But I don't think JPJ or Colton Miller are going to come play this season. And I would encourage them not to come play this season. But Colton's way, way closer than JPJ's not coming back. I would be shocked if JPJ came back. I think the only way Jackson Powers Johnson would come back is if Pete Carroll went up to the podium and said, I was wrong when I said absolutely not, we will play JPJ at center. JPJ has not told me that. Nobody from JPJ's family has told me that. I want to be very clear. It's just, I think that would be the only way JPJ would play again. And again, it's not that he can play and he's choosing not to. He's also injured. Like, we're talking about getting a guy who's been injured to get him going back again. And I would encourage JPJ, sit back, relax, get ready for next season. Colton Miller, sit back and relax, get ready for next season. Another topic that we will be doing here on today's show is I have ranked the top. Oh, I got to send you a message. I definitely spelt it wrong, though. I'm going to be ranking the top Raiders head coach candidates. I've obviously been asked, Mitch, who do you want? Who should the Raiders go out and target? Today, I'm going to give you the top 10. I got them ranked from 10 all the way down to 1. And I'll say this, I've done this show a bunch over the course of my years here being the host of the Raiders Report. But I think that this list of 10 names that I have is the best list of 10 names where I'm not kidding you when I'm about to say I would take any of the 10 names that I'm about to give you over Pete Carroll. And again, it wouldn't even be close. You give me any of the names in this top 10, I will take them over Pete Carroll in a flipping heartbeat. My question to you is, who do you want to be the next Raiders head coach? Because I'll give you guys some shout-outs. I'll see what you guys have to say. But first, I got to give this guy a shout-out. The Weldinator! Bang! The Weldinator! One bang for our bang race, but also 5 ducks in the duck race right now as it stands.
Actually, it's 2 bangs. $50 bangs today.
Oh, boy. All right. Let's do it. Let's do it. I'll tell you this. I've done a lot of deals in my day. This might be the best Venmo deal I think I've ever done then. $100 Venmo, 2 bangs, and you get 5 ducks in. That's, I'm not ducking around today. We're not ducking around. Weldinator, shout out to you. So this means right now as it stands, we are at a $10 Venmo for a chance to win $50 here on today's program. Darian, yo, Mitch, what's our chances? Head coach Clint Kubiak, Fernando Mendoza, defensive coordinator Matt Patricia. Patricia's an interesting name. The only reason why I don't think the Raiders are going to do it is because where's he coaching right now? And again, I know I am always somebody that says don't judge a player based on his helmet. But I don't know, and I know Brady's got some ties to Matt Patricia, but I have a hard time believing that we are going to hire the defensive coordinator for Ohio State after such a disaster of a hiring Chip Kelly from him coming from Ohio State. So I don't think Patricia's going to happen. I really, truly, truly do not. In terms of Clint Kubiak and Fernando Mendoza, I would give this one just win, baby. If we had the number 1 overall pick, I'd actually give it to Just Win Baby because I think that job becomes much more attractive then for that first-time head coach, for somebody who's going to be able to go out and get their quarterback if they want. But right now, I would say it's one Just Win Baby because we don't have the number 1 pick yet. But if we don't have the number 1 overall pick, 0% chance. And it's because Clint wouldn't take the job, and it's because Fernando, from everything I hear and understand, Mendoza's going to be the number 1 overall pick. And as much as I like Fernando Mendoza, if we don't have the number 1 pick, it doesn't make sense for us, a team with all the holes that we have, to trade up to number 1 because then we're going to zap our future away. There's other avenues that you would have to take then. And, there's other quarterbacks that I think you could look at. There's other teams like you could look at to trade with. But no matter what, every plan that you're going to see from me, it's going to be for a young quarterback on a rookie contract. That I can guarantee you. Aiden, is this Demokes? Are we back to Demokes here? AOC for MVP. I'll be real with you, dude. I would love it to happen. Holy shit. If Aiden O'Connell was the MVP of the NFL, it might be enough to end world hunger. Raider Rick, yes, I'd certainly draft the quarterback, Mendoza. I'm on board with Mendoza and Moore. Like, those are the only 2 quarterbacks that I really feel strongly about. Moore could return to college. Mendoza's going to be coming out because, again, he's going to be the number 1 overall pick. Unless there's a team that just values Moore a little bit more. But, I mean, again, Mendoza might not do things that he doesn't have the athletic traits. And I've heard a lot of comps. Like, to me, the comp that I've said a few times on this show is he kind of reminds me of a more athletic Jared Goff with the mentality and, like, the way he speaks like Kirk Cousins. I think that's a really good pairing with somebody like a Tom Brady, like a John Spytek, like a young, innovative, offensive-minded head coach. But I like Mendoza. I think you guys know that. Draft Mendoza, number 1. Hire Minter, Kubiak, or the Rams DC. I guarantee you this. You're going to love the video that I do for the Raiders head coach candidates. So, give me a name. Drop one down below. Who do you want to be the next Raiders head coach? The last time that I checked, we did have 810 people here live right now on the Raiders Report. Shout out to all of y'all for pulling up today. Again, I know it's not easy to pull up in a 2-11 season. I get it's not easy to support the Raiders. But you know what? I am always going to be here for y'all. I hope that you know I'm always going to support you, just like I think that you guys are going to support me. It's what friends do. It's what the community we've been able to build here has been able to do. So, I see Chris Shula from today's MVP, Arbora. What up, my man? I got Mitchell Renz from Rebel, Montana. As flattered as I am in that, I should be somebody that's like more football operations. Again, I don't know X's and O's well enough to be able to coach. Because, again, like you can be really smart, doesn't make you a good teacher. And I'm not saying I'm really smart. I'm saying, like, I am going to be honest with all of y'all. You don't want me as a head coach. You want me somebody as football operations that can tell this team, our coach, like what players we have, where to use them, what their skill sets are, players to target. Like, that would be a job that I could do. Josh McDaniels, stop it. Mike Tomlin from Victor Lobos. Kubiak from Drop Top Blaza. Kyle Whittingham, sneaky good coach. Ooh, interesting. Raiders Report is, there's some interesting names coming in here. Vic Fangio from the Broncos fan. Stop it. Coffee Cheer Mitch. Chugs and Chat pick Mendoza with our pick. Head coach Minter. Offensive coordinator Brian Dable. Start Kenny Pickett. I think I would be on board with everything that you mentioned here outside of start Pickett. To me, I want the Raiders to start Geno Smith. And the biggest reason is the Raiders have shown you this year when they have the same amount of time, basically a week to be able to prepare with Geno Smith, like they're going to do the same thing over and over and over again. Offense, defense. It's not hard to be able to predict what the Raiders are going to do, and it's why teams, I really think, have dominated us from a coaching standpoint is because Pete's going to do the same shit that he's done. Pete doesn't try to go away from what he's going to do, and you can scheme for him. If you bench Geno and you start Kenny, there's not a lot of tape that our guys can learn from, which I actually think gives the Raiders an advantage. Let's go to Jeff. Don't think draft was bad. Rodgers looked great. Besh looked good. Have a feeling Grant will be good too. It's Pete's fault for not playing the rooks. I agree with this statement. Like, I think it's hard to be able to say whether or not the draft was good or bad because I don't think that our players have gotten the fair chance to be able to go out there and execute. I also don't think like our players have gotten a great coaching staff, right? Like, imagine if there's a student that, I don't know, maybe he's not the smartest student in your class, but mom and dad are deadbeat parents. Like, is that the student's fault or is that mom and dad's fault? I think right now you're looking at a Raiders coaching staff that's a deadbeat coaching staff. But when these players have played, like Caleb Rogers last week, 39 snaps, 0 pressures, I agree with you. Like, I have more faith in our young Raiders players because they've shown me that this coaching staff has been just idiotic the entire year. And go figure, Jack Besh looks a lot better when you actually play him. But yet our staff would have told us, no, it would have been better to start this guy. It would have been better to start this guy. It would have been better to start this guy. It's very, very frustrating. But I do think, though, what you can say, the draft plan was bad. That was my bigger point. Like, the draft plan was a shit plan because you should not have drafted Ashton Jeanty at number 6 overall if you were going to roll with the offensive line that we had. Like, the plan was bad. I still don't know if the players are bad yet. I think that that's still yet to be determined. Jeremy Cole, what's up, my man? Should the Raiders fans bait Geno to react to help the team get him for conduct detrimental to the team? I don't even think you need to bait him. I think you just keep booing him. Like, he's shown that it's getting to him. He has shown you that he's going to flip you off. He's going to say F you. But also at the same time, the Raiders have shown you that they're not going to try to get him for conduct detrimental to the team. Like, again, you can say what you want. If the Raiders would have suspended Geno Smith, he would have lost some money and the Raiders would have saved some money. And, maybe getting out of the entire contract would have been a lot more of a difficult legal battle. But I'll also say this, like, Pete Carroll and this organization, I don't know everything that happened with the Wilkins situation, but if the Raiders were willing to move on from Wilkins as easy as they did, and we haven't heard anything about it, why not at least then try to put the same foot forward for Geno Smith flipping off your fans? Because, again, you could have gotten out of some money. Pete Carroll has shown me time and time and time again that he cares more about Geno Smith than he does the Las Vegas Raiders, and you're not ever going to be able to change my opinion on that statement. Also, this guy is insane. The Weldinator! Bang! Raiders! Weldinator! Another bangerang. I mean, Weldinator's taking advantage of today's deal. $50 bangs, which means, I think we also got what? We got a wheel spin? What else is, I honestly, I forget the deals that I even made today.
Wheel spin.
And
we'll double it.
Wheel spin, and we're going to double it for the raffle tickets for the chance to win the signed Max Crosby helmet or the signed Max Crosby football.
40 tickets.
40 tickets, got them. So the way that we'll do it at the end of the month is I'll be like, here's the helmet, here's the football. Whoever it lands on that giant wheel that we do, you can pick football or helmet, right? And then we'll spin it again, and the person gets the other item. That's how we're going to end up doing it. 40 tickets. 40 tickets for the Weldinator. Unbelievable, dude. What do you say? We got about 5 more Super Chats to get to, and then we will go through the other 2 segments that we got here on today's show. And again, I'll say this right now. Today was the most I've looked forward to doing a Tuesday live in a long time because I love the topics that I have. We're talking NFL draft. We're talking future head coach. Talking Geno Smith wanting the F out of here. If that doesn't make you happy or just wiggle a little bit down there, you might want to check your pulse. And if you agree with that, hit that like button. If the Colts flame out and Steichen fired OC head coach, I'll say this. I agree with this. I love Shane Steichen. I agree with Chugs. He goes, I don't see why they would. The only logical explanation to why they would be because they traded for Sauce Gardner. When you give up the amount of things that they gave up for Sauce and for these other players, like you expect to be able to make the playoffs, my only fire back with you would be this. Do you think that you're going to be able to find a better head coach than Shane Steichen? I don't know the answer to that. Do you think you're going to be able to recruit a better head coach than Shane Steichen with your quarterback situation being, I don't really know, with you not having 2 first-round picks? Like, I think it would be really, really difficult for Indy to be able to recruit a top head coach candidate better than Shane Steichen because I believe Mike McCarthy is a top 32 head coach on the planet. I believe Mike Tomlin, top 32 head coach on the planet. I believe Shane Steichen, top 32 head coach on the planet. And it's kind of unfortunate for him because he would have won Coach of the Year if Daniel Jones doesn't get injured. Now, the Colts were definitely trending in the wrong direction. I think Indianapolis took advantage of an easier front half of the schedule compared to the back half of the schedule. But, I'll also say this. If I would have told anybody at the beginning of the year the Indianapolis Colts would win 8 games, 8 games, people are like, holy shit, what a great job by Shane Steichen. He's a really smart, offensive-minded coach. And if he got fired, I would absolutely, positively put him on my top 10 list. I want to be very clear on that. Ed Robbins, demon time. Flores for head coach, Brian Dable for OC, PG for DC. Again, I think that this is a good staff. Patrick Graham's not going to be back next season, and I think the only way that you keep him is if you give him another raise. And, we're going to start getting up into the money realm where I don't think that Mark's going to want to go that route. I think the other part of this equation is, Brian Flores, he's going to want to build his own staff. Whoever we bring in as our next head coach, one of the selling points that we're going to have to do is you get to build your own staff. There are certain organizations that, they could probably be no, you're just going to be the head coach. We're going to keep one guy. Whoever this next head coach is going to be, it's because of how much of a disaster the Raiders have been. It's because of all the guys they've hired and fired. That next head coach, when he gets his job, I'd be shocked if he didn't ask for, I want to be able to build my own staff. And I really think that that's how it's going to go. But I think if you brought in Brian Flores, there's actually somebody else that I would consider bringing in to be a offensive coordinator with him. And I'll talk about it a little bit later on today. But, that's a great coaching staff, though, right there. I'll tell you that right now. I love that coaching staff. 2 videos and a live stream today. Mitch and Chug spoiling us. I don't know if it's spoiling. I think it's every day, basically. You get 2 videos on a game day, sometimes 3. 2 videos Monday plus a live. 2 videos and a live on Tuesday. I'd like to say you get at least 1 video and a live on Wednesday, though. I got flipping jury duty tomorrow. Thursday, you get a live video. And, if that's spoiling you, I feel like I spoil you guys a lot then. To me, when I feel like I spoil you guys is when I get you 3 videos in a live show. To me, that means for 10 to 12 hours that day, me and my team are going balls to the wall. Which, hey, I have no problem putting my balls on the wall. Jason, need a true wide receiver 1. Could Ayuk be a possibility? Why would you want Brandon Ayuk? Ever since Brandon Ayuk has gotten paid, he has literally given up on San Francisco. He doesn't work out anymore. He's been an absolute disaster. Jason, again, you've sent in some crazy questions over the past few days here. If you're the Raiders, if you're looking for a number 1 wide receiver, you go look for him in the draft. And I say that because, in my personal opinion, if I'm going to spend $30 million on Brandon Ayuk, spend $30 million on your offensive line, right? You got to build that offensive line. The number 1 focus that I have in free agency, offensive line. Solidify your offensive line in any way means possible, whether it's trades, whether it's signings. Solidify the line. That way you don't have to worry about it going into the draft. Because in the draft, there's a lot of talent that I think wide receivers is a lot deeper. I think defense is a lot deeper. But then it's also the money spent, right? Where I feel like wide receiver has been the one position that shows you pay a guy and they kind of turn into a little bit of a diva. The only receiver that I would entertain the idea of spending $30 million plus on, and it's a lot, but I would do it because, again, you'd have to manipulate a few things, would be Justin Jefferson. I do wonder if JJ gets frustrated enough to want to get the hell out of Minnesota. And if you wanted to go out and get Justin Jefferson the way that I would do it, then you have the number 1 overall pick. You're trading out of that number 1 spot. You're trading out of that number 1 spot. You're trying to get those extra draft picks. You use those extra draft picks to go out and get a guy like Justin Jefferson, and then you figure out another way to go out and get a young quarterback via trade. I got 2 other quarterbacks via trade in a show that I'll do a little bit later on today. But Ayuk, absolutely not. I am more on the boat of you got Mayer, you got Bowers, you got Trey Tucker, you got Jack Besh. Let's add another young wide receiver to that room in the draft, maybe in the 3rd or 4th round. You do have 2 4th-round picks. I'd say maybe a little bit earlier, but no, I got no interest. What if AP drafted Sanders? Would we be better? I mean, I think it's kind of hard to argue that we wouldn't be better. Like, as much as I am not a believer long-term in Shedeur Sanders, I do think he is limited, but I also said this. I think I love Shedeur Sanders at the podium. I think people always try to trick him. He has shown how mentally tough, how mentally ready he is at the podium. I am rooting for Shedeur to be able to succeed. It's a lot of fun to be able to watch him. Our Brown shows here at Chat Sports have been going crazy. They've been going off the wall. I also want to be able to give AP the benefit of the doubt because I do think AP came up with a good plan of, hey, let's try to go out and get Jaden Daniels. Let's try to do that with Cliff Kingsbury, something that has been able to work. I get that it's not working this season, but Jaden's clearly not healthy. The Commanders are a little bit out of whack, and that's why you're not going to see Cliff Kingsbury on this show. But I don't know how you don't say we would be better. Like being better than what we are right now is probably like the Cleveland Browns type of better. It's still not a great situation. From my standpoint, I would love Shedeur Sanders on this show because, a lot of people get mad at me. Oh, Mitch, people, they spend money on this channel. Again, I give you a menu just the same way you do a restaurant. If you're getting mad at grown men and women spending their money the way that they want to spend it, again, I don't know how you even get out of the house, but Shedeur Sanders would help me, help Chugs, help our company grow more than anybody on the face of the planet, and that's just because that Sanders impact. But I do think we would be better. Curry, how does that title make you feel? Draft a young quarterback, use money on the O-line, draft all defense. I'm not going to say draft all defense because there's still a lot of other areas that you could go, but to me, I think for this offseason, draft-wise, I definitely want to draft an edge. Got to replace Malcolm Kuntz. I want to draft a replacement for Christian Wilkins on defensive tackle. Got to be able to do that. So, for me and why I agree with you, you use that money on the offensive line. You draft a young quarterback. You build that offensive line in free agency. You're winning in the trenches that way. If we draft a young QB in round 1, which I believe is what this team is going to do, then you use that second-round pick or use that third-round pick and edge, and then defensive tackle. It's just whoever's the best player available. I want to win in the trenches. I'm sick and tired of getting our shit pushed in with all these. It's been the year after year after year. We don't focus on the trenches, and you look at a lot of the best teams in the NFL year in and year out. Look at what the Houston Texans are doing right now. That defense wins every single rep, and it makes everybody else around you better. I want to be able to invest in our defense, and I want to be able to invest in a young, very talented defense, and I believe that you can do that in the NFL draft. Kai, even the devil felt bad when he saw the Raiders back a bummy quarterback over Raider Nation. I don't know how you as a grown man, you as a head coach of a football team, can allow your quarterback to do what he did and face no repercussions. That's all I'll say. I don't know how you do it. Jack Besh and Trey Tucker would be good if we had a quarterback. I think Jack Besh and Trey Tucker are good, and they would be better if we had a real quarterback, if we had a real system in place. I actually think that we are so much closer than what people realize, and I hope that, the young players, how they've played over the past few weeks has kind of shown a lot of our fans that we're not nearly as far away as what people think. Don't get me wrong, I'm not sitting up here, we're going to win a Super Bowl next year. No. I'm not sitting up here saying we're going to make the playoffs next year. No. But to think that you can't make a change in the offseason with a top head coach, the number 1 overall pick, top 2 money in salary cap, 10 draft picks in total, and we could get more draft picks, right? What if Patrick Graham, I don't think he gets hired to be a head coach, but what if Patrick Graham got hired to be a head coach, right? That's going to be extra picks for us in the comp process. We also have other coaches that could get promoted elsewhere. I don't think it's going to happen, but it could end up happening where the comp pick formula, we get a few extra picks. It's we could make a change this offseason. And I hate saying it because, I had a Raiders executive. I'll leave it like that. They got mad at me because I said I think I could do a better job than the people at charge. And I get I'm not in that building. But I also think, and I'll say it to that Raiders person who I was talking to the other day, go look at the track record. Go watch my videos. My videos are proof that I'm not saying we'd be a Super Bowl caliber team. But if the Raiders would follow what we talk about on this show and would actually listen to its fans, and that's the craziest part, we would be in such a better position as an organization. It's just not debatable. Rebel, answer in third view, Mitch, head coach, Chugs OC, Marsh DC. we would be a better football team. What up, Britton? What up? Just want to see Pete gone now. Tired of this BS. These guys don't understand we've been losing for 20 years. I actually think that they do understand that we've been losing for 20 years, and that's why Pete was hired. Pete was hired to get the fan base back on track, to pack Allegiant Stadium, and that's why Pete's comments are what Pete's comments have been like. Oh, we need you to support us. But I think they understand it. It's just the Mark Davis issue is he hires people based on former resume, and he doesn't hire people on the current right now, because I think Mark always is looking for validation. Mark knows that he doesn't have the football mind, so what does a guy who doesn't have a football background do? He looks for validation based on the resume. But again, like, I don't give a shit. Like, you know, if you were the best writer on the planet 20 years ago, being the best writer on the planet 20 years ago doesn't make you the best YouTube host now. And video is way more important than, I don't know, written content. Like, that's the example I've gave recently. And just because you were a good football coach in the 80s and 90s doesn't make you a good football coach right now. Like, it's just, you got to get with the times. And we hire people that aren't with the times. They're just stuck in their ways. My manager is a big Rams fan. He swears that Chris Shula is Sean McVay 2.0 or the McVay of defense. I love Shula, and you're going to see Shula ranked very, very high on the video I'm about to drop. Mitch, any rumors on Raiders possibly sitting guys like Brock and Max, etc.? I have not heard anything in that regard. I'll also say this. If Max Crosby sits out of a game, I actually would be way more worried as a Raiders fan. Again, I don't have any connections to Brock Bowers. I'll be very clear on that. I don't know. I have not been able to get in contact with Brock. I have not been able to get in contact with anybody that represents Brock. I would love to, but Brock kind of keeps to himself from what I understand, and I don't think that surprises anybody here watching the show. But if Max Crosby sits out a game and he's healthy, I think that means he's getting traded, because the only reason why he would do that is to be healthy in the offseason to get traded. And I'm not saying that that's what he wants. Again, I'll keep talking to people, and everybody that I talk to says Max Crosby wants to be a Raider for life. I'm going to believe those people because they have not led me astray yet. But, like, if Max sat out a game, you should be worried. If Max sat out a game, he was healthy, I guarantee flipping to you, one of the very first videos I would make is the Raiders are going to be trading Max Crosby in the offseason, because you got to take his leg off not to play. Like, that's a guy, like, he wants to play. And, you know, like, I was talking to one of my buddies who's a Notre Dame fan. He was in my wedding, and he was happy that Notre Dame, you know, decided to get out of the bowl game. That's a whole nother conversation. But as a former athlete, like, I would love the opportunity to play another game. Max Crosby is that same way. He's like, I love playing football. You got to kill me to not put me out there on that field. I mean, he literally risked his life a few years ago with that knee injury because he wanted to play football games. And I love it. I respect it. But if he ended up sitting out, I'm telling you right now, hit the panic button. Hit the panic button. Also, if you want to hit a button and get a chance to win a little bit of money, Venmo. $10 Venmo at Mitchell Renz 365. Right now you have the opportunity to go home with 50 doll hairs on today's program. $50 on today's show. It's a 50-50 raffle. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be at the very, very end. Hang on, I got some in my eye. Very, very end of today's program. I did just see we got a super. We will get to that after the segment that I'm about to do, because coming up here on the show, I'm going to get into my Las Vegas Raiders draft plan. I should also mention this, because my wife is out of town. I am on Chuck dog duty, so I have to get out of here in an hour. And it's just because, again, I came into work a little bit earlier today. I don't like to push Chuck's bladder anything longer than 8.5. He would probably be good for 12 hours. He's the best boy out there, and can't wait to see him. He's my homie. But I think we all, if anybody's got a dog here and anybody understands, like, I don't really want to push it anything more than that, because when I left today, he was a sad guy. He's used to having Alex at home. He's used to having us there. So, sad guy, but I don't want to push his bladder any further than that. So no matter what, I got to get out of here in 59 minutes. We still got 2 segments to do. We're going to talk about the Raiders draft plan. We're going to talk about the top Raiders head coach candidates. That's all coming up here right now on the Raiders Report. Raider Nation, what's going on? It's Mitchell Renz here, host of the Raiders Report. And coming up on today's program, my Las Vegas Raiders draft plan. I am revealing it for the 2026 NFL Draft. And the reason why I am making this video is because I am a believer that the Silver and Black are going to have the number 1 overall pick. And if we don't have the number 1 overall pick, you're going to see me crash out on a show like you have never seen me crash out before. I've had a lot of fans. I've had a lot of people from Mount Raidermore, the Silver and Black Hills, a lot of the IG phone calls that I've been doing on Instagram at Mitchell Renz 365. They've been asking me, can we get more draft content? If you want more draft content, then hey, make sure you're subscribed because I'm going to be pumping out a lot more draft content. But here's what I want to know from you. I want you to be the GM, be John Spytek, be Tom Brady, be whoever the hell our next head coach is going to be. Let me know down in the comments section. If the Raiders have the number 1 overall pick, what should they do with it? Do you go quarterback? Do you trade back? Do you take best player available? I'm going to tell you what I would do coming up here on today's show because I got 5 plans. And the reason why I'm doing 5 plans today, and ultimately the biggest reason why I am doing this video, is because if you're the Raiders, you got to be able to show me, you got to be able to tell me, you got to be able to tell the front office, hey, this is going to be our plan moving forward. And I say that because the Raiders draft plan last season, it was bad, and we just got to be real. I'm not saying the Raiders players were bad. I think that that's still up for grabs, and I don't know if the players are bad or not because I think our coaching staff's so bad. But right now, the Raiders hold the number 2 overall pick. And if you lose to the Eagles, the Texans, the Giants, and the Chiefs, you will have the number 1 overall pick. But to me, I am somebody where I come up with a plan. I sit down, I write it out, and I try to execute that. That's how I would do it if I was in the Raiders war room, if I was in the Raiders draft room. And I'm also saying this to John Spytek, to Tom Brady, to Brian, to Brandon Hunt, to Stark, all these guys that make these decisions. The plan y'all came up with this past year was a shit plan. You can't tell me otherwise. You can't tell me that your main thing in free agency was to sign Alex Kappa, do nothing with our offensive line besides take JPJ away from center, and then draft Ashton Genty. If you would have told me that plan, I would have said it's a shit plan. That's why Raider Nation all offseason was saying it's a shit plan to draft a running back at number 6. Not saying Genty isn't talented. He's clearly talented. But you can't get the most out of your running back if you don't do the proper things before that. So what I'm going to tell y'all today is my plan for the Las Vegas Raiders in the NFL draft, because I think right now if you have the number 1 pick, there's 5 things you should do. Now, these are not ranked. I want to be very clear. They are just 5 things that I would do. First thing that the Las Vegas Raiders could do with the number 1 overall pick, you could select Indiana quarterback Fernando Mendoza. Fernando Mendoza is my number 1 quarterback in this year's draft. I think he brings a lot of the winning intangibles that you look for in a young man. He might not have all these glitz and glam, but you know what he does? He makes the other 21 guys around him better. He makes everybody else around him better because he believes in himself, and he makes players believe in themselves. He's got that, I'll say it like almost like Tom Brady-esque, where when he's looking in that huddle, the biggest moments, people don't want to go up against Fernando Mendoza. Like, you could say what you want about Peyton Manning, Tom Brady. When the lights were at the brightest, those guys showed up. And because he led Indiana to a Big Ten championship, because he is going to win the Heisman, the Mendoza magic, I think, because the way Brady looks at quarterbacks and the way that he thinks, the way that Spytek looks at leaders, and if you had a top head coach candidate, and I will do a video around my top head coach candidates, I believe if you pair that with somebody that has the mentality of a Fernando Mendoza, and some people thought, oh, I can't draft him because of what he said in his press conference. Look at the fire in that kid's eyes. Fernando Mendoza believes in himself. He's going to rally his troops here. He's a leader of men, and I really, really, truly believe it. If you have the number 1 overall pick, I don't know how the hell you don't consider taking Fernando Mendoza. Now, if you haven't already hit that subscribe button, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you tickle that notification bell. You just got to see that bell. You got to click on it. If you can't find the notification bell, I definitely know you can't find something else. So to make sure you're staying up to date on all things going on around the Raiders, and if you're looking for more draft content, make sure you're subscribed. Like I said, tickle the bell. Let's go to the other thing that you could do if you have the number 1 overall pick. You could go with Oregon quarterback Dante Moore. Moore is my second favorite quarterback, but some of the people that I've talked to have him at number 1. I think he's a great pure passer. I think he's a strong mental processor. And a lot of the things that I like in Mendoza, I also like him more. A lot of the things that I like him more, I see in Mendoza. Like, to me, you can't rattle Mendoza. To me, you can't rattle Moore. And I am a Penn State guy. I watched Dante Moore in a whiteout game. And if you've never seen a whiteout game, if you've never been in person in a whiteout game, the reason why I am a Raiders fan, I went out to Oakland in 2019. Monday Night Football was the FAB game. The closest game that I have ever been a part of, I'm literally getting chills talking about it right now, I remember being in a whiteout game. It was Penn State up against Illinois. It was Rashard Mendenhall, Juice Williams up against 7th-ranked Penn State. Watching and being a part of that black hole and being a part of that experience, it was unbelievable. And the fact that I saw a guy like Dante Moore walk into a whiteout stadium, never give up, rally his team in a game that I'll say I can't believe that they won. To have that type of mental toughness, that's a guy that can handle Raiders fans. That's a guy that can handle Las Vegas. And that's why I like Moore. That's why I like Mendoza. And I also will say this. I think Moore's ceiling might not be as high as Mendoza's, but I also think Moore's floor is safe. Like, I don't see Dante Moore busting in the NFL. I don't know if he's ever going to be a top 10 quarterback. You got to be in the right situation. You got to have the right pieces around him. You could say that with any young rookie quarterback. But to me, Fernando Mendoza, Dante Moore are the only two quarterbacks in the 2026 NFL draft that I think that the Raiders should even consider drafting in the first round. Coming up next here on the show, I could argue my favorite draft plan is going to come up here next. And that might surprise some people because I am team draft the quarterback, because at this point you got to be able to find your franchise guy. You got to be able to build him with your new head coach. And I think if you want the top head coach candidate, you got to let him go get his guy. However, I really think where the current situation where the Raiders are, I could argue my next plan is the best plan for the Silver and Black. Also, though, we got a sponsor here, and I'm excited to be able to tell you about Bubs, because live better longer. And for a limited time, only our listeners are getting 20% off at Bubs Naturals by using code CHAT at checkout. Just head to BUBSNaturals.com, use code CHAT, and you're all set. After you purchase, they will ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them that the Raiders Report sent you. So if you're like, Mitch, what's Bub Naturals? You can also talk about a bunch of different things of why collagen peptides help you turn the clock back. For me, I'm 32 years old. I know some of y'all have been asking me what's been going on with my own personal health, and I am trying to figure out ways to be the better, most healthy version of myself, which is why I'm really excited that Bub's Natural Collagen Peptides are here to help us out. And to me, it helps with your hair. It helps with your nails. My wife is telling me for a long, long time that I should take more collagen, and you just need 1 scoop a day. To me, consistency is key to my success. It's odorless, it's flavorless, it dissolves instantly, and you can avoid, I think just feeling like crap. I've started taking this now over just like the past, I'd say, week or so with my stomach problems, and I'm trying to, like I said, be the best, healthier version of me. It supports joint health. It supports mobility. You're going to promote healthy hair, skin, nails. My wife yells at my skin regime all the time because, I basically wet my face. I go to bed, and I've really noticed that my acne, I think a lot of people could say, my acne has drastically gone down. It helps with muscle recovery. It helps with getting stronger. I am somebody where, again, I want to be the best version of myself, and I believe that Bubs helps me do that. So that link is going to be available to y'all down in the comments, down in the description of today's show. And one of the other things that I love is Bub Naturals doesn't just make the cleanest, most effective collagen peptides in the world. They also sell electrolyte supplements. Also, Bubs donates 10% of all profits to charity in Glenn's honor, starring with the Glenn Daugherty Memorial Foundation. So live better longer. And for a limited time, our listeners are getting 20% off at Bubs Naturals by using code CHAT at checkout. Just head to BUBSNaturals.com, use code CHAT, and you're all set. After your purchase, they will ask you where you heard about them. Please support the Raiders Report, and please, please, please tell them that we sent you. Coming up next here on the show, maybe the best draft plan for the number 1 overall pick. Raise your hand if you think the Raiders have a lot of holes. If your hand's not up right now, it's probably because you don't have any arms. And I hate saying it, But, put your foot up. I don't know, put a toe up, put your nose up. Everybody here knows that we got a lot of freaking draft holes, no doubt about it. So here's the other plan that I think that you could do if you're the Raiders. If you have the number 1 pick, go back to pick number 2. And the reason why I say you trade back to number 2 is because then you could still draft Fernando Mendoza. You could still draft Dante Moore. Chugs and I have said a lot on this channel, like we've kind of jokingly, like you look at the past history, the number 1 quarterback taken hasn't always been the best one, right? Like Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud. I think most people here would take C.J. Stroud. Caleb Williams or Jaden Daniels. I know Jaden struggled this season, but I would have taken Drake May. That's a whole other conversation. But to me, you have so many holes on this team. If you trade back to number 2, because of what that team's going to give up to get to number 1, you're going to be able to get a shit ton more draft picks to be able to help you build this year, and you're going to be able to build in the future. And then if you're the Raiders and you're looking at Mendoza, you're looking at Moore. Again, I like Mendoza more. But I will also say here, like, if you like Mendoza, you should probably also like Dante Moore. And if you like Dante Moore, you should probably like Fernando Mendoza. I think they're very similar in terms of what they bring to the table as an NFL-style quarterback. So you trade back to number 2, whoever's available, you take the pressure off yourself, which is probably good for the Raiders, and then you just take that best guy available. But I do really believe that there is going to be one team. I don't know who it's going to be, but right now I've had a few sources tell me, and I don't even think it's that big of a secret. When you see what the New York Jets had to give up, or what they gave up for Quinnen Williams, or what they got is probably the way I should say, what they got for Quinnen Williams, what they got for Sauce Gardner, that's a team with 3 first-round picks this year, 2 first-round picks next season, a multitude of different second-rounders, and that's a team that's going to be looking for a brand-new quarterback because they're moving on from Justin Fields. I mean, if I told you that you could get an extra 2 first-round picks and a second-round pick just to move back 1 spot, even if, like, you did really, truly want a guy. Now, if the new Raiders coach that they hire is like, no, that's our guy, well, then you go get your guy. But if you're like, I don't really know, I'll go either way, I think that this way, low-key, could be a great, great way for the Raiders to be able to build this team. So let's talk about quarterback, because we're talking a lot about quarterbacks, and I see a lot of hands up down there in the chat. Shout out to Javette, Victor Lobos, Danny2117. Shout out to y'all. What would you do drafting a quarterback-wise? Let's say you could pick any QB, because, again, to me, I'm only talking about Mendoza. I'm only talking about Moore because those are the only 2 quarterbacks that I would even consider drafting at number 1 overall. So would you go Mendoza? Give me an FM. If you would go Dante Moore, give me a DM. Or if you would pick somebody else, maybe a Ty Simpson, maybe a Cam Sellers, give me that person's name down below. I think you all know my answer. My answer is going to be Fernando Mendoza. I think he's a leader of men. I love what I've seen about him, and everybody's got their ups and downs. Every rookie quarterback's going to have their ups and downs. But I want a guy that plays his best football when the biggest moments are on him. And I want a guy that doesn't seem fazed by the situation that is around him. And I really need a tough mental quarterback, a high-level processor, because I think that guy would work great with Spytech. I think that person would work great with Tom Brady. And I think that person would work great with our brand-new, young, innovative head coach, whoever we decide to bring in. That is why I would go Fernando Mendoza. But I also wouldn't be mad if it was Dante Moore. This is where it's going to get a little bit crazy. Plan number 4 here that I'm going to talk about is go out and trade for Cam Ward. Y'all know how much I like Cam Ward. I said back in 2023 that back in 2024, that Cam Ward was going to be a potential Heisman finalist, that I loved what I saw from him from Washington State, was really excited to be able to see him play in Miami, and if you don't believe me, go back and watch March 2024 videos. I said Cam Ward's going to be the number 1 overall pick in the 2025 NFL Draft. Ward has not been good this season. I know that. You know that. But guess what? The only quarterback that's been sacked more than Geno Smith is Cam Ward. They have absolutely, positively no talent around him at all. And I had a source tell me, who was with one of the Raiders owners, that the Titans would consider trading Cam Ward because they like Mendoza. I also want to be very clear. That conversation that happened with the Raiders owner happened before Sunday's game, before the Titans ended up winning that game. So that conversation was more predicated on Tennessee having the number 1 overall pick, and that Tennessee would take Mendoza, and that they would be willing to move on from Cam, because there's right now rumors and reports that Tennessee, not that they don't like Cam, but that they were forced to take Cam Ward. At least ownership made them do that. So if you're the Raiders, Think about this idea. You could trade a second-round pick. You give up, let's say, pick number 33 for Cam Ward. If you have the number 1 overall pick then, you already know that you're going to get your young quarterback. Then you could trade back and think about the amount of picks that you would be able to get for 2026, for 2027 to really retool this team. And because you do that, you can cover a lot more assets on offense, on defense, and you still get a quarterback that was drafted at number 1 overall. Like I said, I don't give a flying flip if people believe my sources or not. I will continue to say that I really, truly believe that this show, we've been able to prove that we do have good sources. And I'm not saying that Tennessee is going to trade away Cam Ward, but has anybody heard anything about Tennessee moving on from Cam? I really haven't heard anything out there. But I promise you this, there's going to be reports. There's going to be rumors, because I don't see why a Raiders owner would tell one of my buddies that type of information without it actually having some backing. NFL teams talk all the time. I am a big, big supporter of Cam. I would love the idea of us giving up a second-round pick for Cam Ward. But to me, people are going to ask, Mitch, would you rather draft Mendoza or Moore in the first round, or would you rather get Cam Ward for a second-round pick? My cop-out answer is going to be, what does our head coach want? Because I want to get the best head coach possible. And if our top head coach goes, I want Cam Ward, well, if that helps us get a better head coach, that's what I want. If our head coach goes, I don't want Cam Ward, I want Fernando Mendoza, I want Dante Moore, that helps us get a better head coach. That's what I want. You can't draft a quarterback like Ward. You can't draft a quarterback like Mendoza or Moore unless you support them and put the right pieces around them. So I do think an interesting way to rebuild this team, give up a second for Cam, trade back from round 1 or in the first pick, and then you just stock everywhere else. Because, again, I'm going into the draft spending a lot of my money on the offensive line. So I'm already going into the draft, in my personal opinion, with a great top 10 potential offensive line, whether it's Cam, whether it's Mendoza, whether it's Dante Moore. I'm putting us in a position to be able to succeed. Before we go into the final step here for this plan, I do want to give a shout out to the Noti gang. These were the first 5 people to comment on the video that I ended up dropping this morning, which, if you didn't see it, I said I was nervous. And I was nervous because I watched the Philadelphia Eagles play on Monday Night Football, and I am concerned that the Raiders could beat Philadelphia. But I want to give a shout-out to Muerte, Raider JC, Infidel, Raider Jaime, Ethan. Shout out to y'all. Greatly appreciate it. And you know what, y'all? They were able to find the notification bell. So you got some lucky ladies in the chat. Final step here. Final plan, if you will, for the Raiders if they have the number 1 overall pick. And this one comes with a little bit of a caveat to it. I'm going to trade for quarterback Jalen Milroe. And some of you are like, wait a minute, Mitch, hang on. So it's kind of similar to what I just talked about with Cam Ward. And to me, if you have the number 1 overall pick, okay, and I really think that the only way I'm going to do this plan is if you're able to get Clint Kubiak. Clint Kubiak's one of my top head coach candidates for the year of 2026 to take over for Pete Carroll, and he's already worked 1 season with Jalen Milroe. I will admit the Jalen Milroe offense is going to look a lot different than Sam Darnold, at least it better, because they are 2 totally different quarterbacks. But do we all agree that Seattle's probably pretty happy with Sam Darnold? I would agree so. So I believe if you're the Raiders, you could give up that 4th, 5th round pick for Jalen Milroe. And then you could get, again, extra picks from that number 1 overall pick, because you're able to get I think, again, if you trade out of that number 1, I do honestly think that you're going to be able to get, at minimum, 2 extra first-round picks. And I think you're going to be able to get a second-round pick because of how highly thought about Fernando Mendoza is. And once the media gets it going, once he wins the Heisman, it's just going to keep going up and up. I am hoping that he plays well in the college football playoffs. But to me, if you go out and you get a guy like Jalen Milroe, you better also have a offensive-minded coach, because I don't think it's smart then to go out and trade for Jalen Milroe if you have a defensive-minded coach. That, to me, doesn't make a lot of sense. But if it costs a 4th or a 5th round pick, you get a young guy in Jalen Milroe, somebody who I do think can lead, very raw still as a prospect. And the reason why I would go this route, you could also just have Aiden O'Connell. I know, you could have Aiden O'Connell who's on the final year of his deal. You could have that situation where, if need be, Aiden's just got to play 1 year. You let Jalen end up learning for just that 1 extra year. Maybe you kind of do a little bit of the Russell Wilson, Jackson Dart situation and give him an opportunity. But by drafting or trading for Jalen Milroe, you allow yourself to almost build a super team. And I've watched the Philadelphia Eagles go about this route. Jalen Hurts is not a good thrower of the football. He's got a good deep ball. I really think that's all he's got. And I do wonder if you could build a stacked roster with a bunch of players all around him. Could you get Jalen Milroe, play some FU football with Ashton Genty behind a great offensive line with Michael Mayer, Brock Bowers, and two good other young receivers, and Jack Best, Trey Tucker, JPJ? Like, I think we have a lot of pieces that could make sense playing an FU style of football with Jalen Milroe. So here are my Raiders' number 1 pick plans. And again, I'm going to throw different ideas out at you. That's what I like to do on this show. So I gave you 5 plans. Plan number 1, draft Mendoza. Plan number 2, Dante Moore. Plan number 3, go back to number 2. Plan number 4 is Cam Ward. Plan number 5, Jalen Milroe. Which plan is your favorite? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Please, please, please let me know down in the comments. All right, y'all, let's give some shout-outs here. I want to see what y'all's favorite plan is out of those that I said. I see V-Dog's going to go with the 3. Kevin says 1. Real Kev also 1. I mean, right now, I see nothing but 1s and 3s. And I'm not shocked at all that that's the top answers. That's kind of the answers that I figured I was going to get on the show. I did just see Raider Dom said 5. But to me, I like 1 and 3 the most as well. In all honesty, I like 1 and 3 the most as well. Unless, like, again, I don't know what the price tag would be for a guy like Cam Ward. My bigger fear with Cam Ward is Cam has shown me that he's really more of a shotgun quarterback. I don't know if he's going to be able to go under center as easily. And I am a believer with a running back like Ashton Genty, we got to be able to go under center. So I will probably do another video a little bit later on, like ranking all the plans that I would do. But I am not shocked at all that I see 1 or 3. Kevin says, go get your guy. And I agree. Like, if you hire a guy like Clint Kubiak, Ashula, any one of these other top candidates that I'm going to talk about, and they look at you and they go, I want this guy, go get him. And again, you got to believe in it. You got to hope and you got to trust. Hoffy, I just want Spytech to pick the head coach and for the Raiders to have an actual organizational structure and hierarchy. What's actually kind of frustrating is I actually think that the Raiders, in terms of like the way good operations work, they kind of are doing it. Where if you look at our front office, I think John Spytek and Tom Brady did a phenomenal job building a really good front office. I really believe that they had a thought process where they thought they were going to be able to get Ben Johnson. They thought they were going to be able to get Mike Vrabel. And once both of those options went out the window, I do honestly believe that they hit that panic button, and they thought that they could go out and get somebody like Pete Carroll who would be able to get Raider Nation on board, who has won a bunch of games in his past and has been able to build something in the future. Again, I didn't like the Pete Carroll hire to begin with, but it is what it is at this point. I do think, though, that their front office has allowed their coaches to coach. And I am a believer that a front office should handle front office business and a coaching staff should handle the coaching, side of it. It's just our problem now is our front office has allowed their coaches to coach. And when your coaches are as bad as our coaches are, and we got some good ones, Luke Steckel's one of the most respected tight end coaches in the NFL. That's a guy that I love. Rob Leonard is somebody that I love. I will still back PG. I think Patrick Graham's a good defensive coordinator. There's also like McCullough, the running backs coach from Notre Dame. He's now with us. Like, we do have good coaches. It's just when you can just see, I'm not saying Pete's purposely sabotaging. That's clearly not the case. But Pete, in his own way of coaching, is sabotaging the players and the staff members and the overall execution that we have. And it's frustrating because I hate ripping apart a 75-year-old or 74-year-old man, but it gets to a point where it's like, Pete, just step down. You know what I mean? Like I'm worried for Pete's health. Like I really truly am. Like when you look at Pete, where he was in the beginning of the year, and I'm saying like February, like watch Pete Carroll's introductory press conference. And then I want you to watch any press conference that Pete's done over the last 2 weeks. It looks like a very young 73-year-old man, and it looks like a very old 74-year-old man. That's a big difference. And, again, I'm not a politic guy, but there was a guy recently, and that was the President of the United States, where you could say where he was to start, where he was at the end. It's Prize Picks knows what I'm talking about. Daniel, if the Raiders get the number 1 pick, just draft Mendoza. Don't overthink it. There isn't a Jonathan Ogden to justify trading back when we have Colton Miller. Again, like to me, I'm not trading back and not taking a quarterback. The only spot I'm trading back is number 2. Because in my mind, I will take Mendoza, I will take Dante Moore. and it's because I do think the quarterbacks are similar in their own ways. Now, again, I got to take a little bit more tape. I will do a little bit more of a deep dive, but I would only consider trading back to number 2 to be able to get more draft picks and then still either be able to get Mendoza or probably more. Let's go to Benjamin Jarvis. First 20 of the day. Spin the Max Crosby wheel. I own sports cards. I own 1,300 plus Geno Smith autographs. Or what is it? Autos? What's auto? Is that like where they shine? Maybe, I don't know. I have never been so disappointed watching him play. He clearly hates being here. He was the top most attractive passer from 2022 to 2024. He hates the Raiders, and his attitude sucks. Well, Benjamin, I actually feel bad that you have that many Geno Smith cards. One of the ways that my uncle, I won't mention him, was able to build his, Mets man cave in his basement was he was a really, really big believer in David Wright when he was coming up, and he bought all these rookie David Wright cards. Wright ended up being one of the greatest Mets of all time, and he sold them for 10 times, 20 times the price. So he's like, I'm going to end up investing that. You get, sir, 5 free raffle tickets for a signed Max Crosby football, for a signed Max Crosby helmet. I said I literally just got them in today. They're back there. So we will give away 2 raffle prizes, not today's show, but at the very, very end of the month. So you'll see the big wheel spin. If you want the helmet, I'll give you the helmet. If you want the football, I'll give you the football. Don't be shocked if Joe Burrow requests a trade. Okay, Rick. It's not going to happen.
I don't care what you say. I will be shocked.
There is, I would say, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes are the least likely players that request a trade and that are traded in the NFL. Would you agree with that statement?
I mean, yeah, it's just like it just
Drake May right now.
I don't even know how you would go about trading Joe Burrow. Because one, his contract, 2, what is even the asking price? 6 first-round picks? 7 first-round picks?
Again, if he requests a trade, I don't know what, if you're the Raiders, right? I think it's just the easiest way that I can do this is, to me, I actually think the only team that has enough picks to trade for Joe Burrow is the New York Jets. And if I'm the Cincinnati Bengals, I say I want every single one of your draft picks for the next 3 years. That's 5 first-round picks. That's a handful of second-round picks. And you know what's crazy? There would be other teams that would try to get into that mix. Like if you're the Las Vegas Raiders, you trade Max Crosby, every single one of your draft picks in the next 3 years, and they still say no.
I say at least the next 2 drafts say, I want all your picks.
Again, Burrow's not going to leave either, though, because, again, Burrow is the king of that city. I actually, maybe the only team that you could convince me that Burrow would want to play for, the Saints, and that's because of the LSU ties. But, again, we have a Cincinnati branch of Chat Sports, and Burrow can do no wrong in Cincy. He ain't going anywhere. Now, they need to upgrade that offensive line, no doubt about it. They need to be able to upgrade that defense, but there's also a reason why Cincinnati paid T. Higgins, paid Jamar Chase, because that's what Burrow wanted. It's because that's what Burrow asked for to stay there. Ben Jarvis, Geno leaves, turns back to a top 10 quarterback. He might. I'll say this. I don't see it happening. And I had Geno Smith ranked as my 14th best quarterback. I said that he had top 10 upside with proper coaching. And again, I thought that our coaching staff would do just something instead of just being absolutely abysmal. I didn't think our offensive line was going to be this bad. I was hoping that Brandon Carroll at least could show that he had a pulse or at least somewhat of an IQ. But to me, I look at Geno Smith right now, and he's just so mentally fried, and he's older. His arm, it's not what it was. His legs, it's not what it was. And I see a quarterback that got paid and didn't put in the same amount of work and effort because, again, the way the ball comes out of his hand, it's not even close to the way that it used to come out of the hand. Accuracy, second-guessing himself. He takes sacks. I'm convinced he takes sacks on purpose. I said it in my video earlier today. There's so much tape out there that proves that Geno's more willing to take a sack than throw the ball out of bounds because I hate saying it, but I think Geno cares more about his stats right now than winning football games because I think he's just so in his own head. about getting hit with some of the backlash. So today, Prize Picks posted this photo on social media because if you want, you can actually right now go on Prize Picks and you can pick more or less on Phillip Rivers passing yards.
I don't know if you can actually do it. They posted it on their Twitter. I haven't checked if you can actually put it in yet.
Giggity. I mean, I got to look then. More or less 127.5 passing yards for Phillip Rivers.
No, yeah. They don't have it.
They don't have it?
No.
Oh, that's terrible. Prize Picks posted this photo of Phillip. What do you guys think? More or less than 127.5 yards for Phillip Rivers?
He's not going to play this weekend.
It's too bad. Could he?
Yes.
I think there's a chance he plays. Who's their other quarterback? Brett Rippon?
Riley Leonard.
Right. Well, no, he's out, I thought.
No.
I thought he got ruled out.
No.
Oh. Richardson out. Jones out. I mean, what a story it would be. What a story it would be.
So our Tuna's top 5 is I have 5 quarterbacks that I think would be better for Indy than Phillip Rivers this year.
Okay.
Number 5, Ryan Tannehill. I think.
So the Tuna's top 5 today is quarterbacks that Indy should have picked over Phillip Rivers, right? Okay,
yes.
I just want to make sure. Sorry. So Ryan Tannehill.
I think Ryan Tannehill would have been a better option. Probably more mobile. I think.
Christ, I hope.
I would hope so. I would hope so. Phillip Rivers is 44 years old.
I think my guy can't walk is more mobile than Phillip Rivers.
Yeah. I think this would have been a better option. Obviously, still has that veteran presence. Still, I think would be a better option for Indianapolis. Number 4, Taylor Heineke, and this is the one that I was surprised they didn't even discuss because Heineke was a backup and started for the Commanders.
Yep.
He was a backup and then started for Atlanta. So he's had multiple stops where he has started for teams and been a backup and played pretty decently. So I'm surprised that they didn't give Taylor Heineke a call. I thought he would have been a much better option. These next 3, stick with me, and they have an asterisk because basically these next 3 guys, it would take the teams that they're on releasing them out of good faith.
Yep.
Being like, you know what, you're not going to play here, this, that, like the old, we're doing right by the player. That would have to happen for these final 3 guys.
Correct.
Number 3, Derek Carr. With the Saints, Mitch told me he saw a lot of this morning.
I saw so much when I woke up this morning. Obviously, first thing I do is I open up my social media. I check my text. I just see if any news happened while I was asleep. First thing that popped up on my social media is that the Colts should go get Derek Carr. The problem is, again, we're already past the NFL trade deadline, so you can't trade. So the only way that could happen is Saints be like, we're going to eat all this dead money, and we're just going to release his contract rights. That way Derek Carr can go sign with the Colts.
Yeah.
Not going to happen.
More likely, Joe Flacco with the Bengals. He did right by them. He was with what team was he with right before this?
Flacco?
The Browns.
Browns.
He was with the Browns. They basically already did this. They were like, oh, we're going to do right by Flacco. We'll release him and let him play somewhere else.
Flacco just played with the Colts, though. He was on that team, last year, 2 years ago?
He was on the team a couple of years ago. He came over to the Bengals, won them. I think they won them at least one game, right?
He looked good in that. I know, early on.
That was a Thursday night game.
So Colts, he was the Colts quarterback in 2024, or one of the Colts quarterbacks.
Yeah. I think Joe Flacco would be a great option if Cincinnati was like, you know what, we'll help you out, Joe, because you did right by us. You played your ass off, did this, that, and the other. I think the best option, and call me crazy, but if the Giants were like, you know what, we already have our backup, what's the point of even having him on our team? And they just release Russell Wilson. Now, He hasn't looked good whenever he's had to go in for the Giants, and, I don't think he's that good of a quarterback at this stage in his career.
But Phillip Rivers hasn't played in 4 years.
Yeah, I think he's still a better option than Phillip Rivers, and I actually think this would be a not the most likely. I think the most likely is obviously they signed Taylor Heineke. But I think between Derek Carr, Joe Flacco, Russell Wilson, the Giants would be willing to be like, you know what, Russ? Go ahead. Go somewhere else.
They probably would like if Russ went somewhere else.
I don't think – I mean –
to me, the only reason why –
he's the third quarterback.
Yeah.
He doesn't really help in the locker room. I don't think a lot of the guys like him there.
I mean, during the bye week, I forget what he was like on television shows.
I mean –
I don't blame Russ. Like, Russ, at this point in his career, is looking more for, like, what he's going to do after football.
And Stabler for president, I'm glad you put that in the chat. I actually talked about this on my Texan show today. I think Kyler Murray is the quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts next season. When you look at it, Daniel Jones will not be ready by next year. He tore his Achilles. He's not going to be ready to go by September for the start of the season.
Yeah, no chance.
The Colts don't have a first-round pick for the next 2 seasons. They can't go ahead and draft anybody. That leaves, maybe if they go back to Anthony Richardson.
No chance.
Riley Leonard.
Stop.
I mean, the only other option I would think of is possibly Tua, but the Dolphins, weirdly enough, kind of turned their season around. They have the same record as the Kansas City Chiefs.
I actually saw that on the playoff graphic here at Chat Sports. I was like, if you would have asked me what the Dolphins' record was, I'll tell you this, I would not have said 6-7.
I looked into it this morning. 100% the Cardinals are doing to Kyler Murray what the Raiders did to Derek Carr years ago, and saying, we're just gonna shut you down. We're gonna make you inactive, not because you're actually injured, but because we don't want you to get injured and guarantee his contract going into next year. I think more than likely, Kyler Murray gets released or traded for like a 4th or 5th round pick this offseason. And I think the best landing spot for him and the team that would probably be the most willing to trade for him would be the Indianapolis Colts. So if I had to put my money on it, I would say Kyler Murray's the starter for the Colts next season.
I like it.
It just makes too much sense.
I think it's an interesting take. I really do.
And I mean,
Riley Leonard is good.
And Shane Steichen has already shown he can take a quarterback that did not do well in New York.
Yeah.
Daniel Jones was not – I mean, how many people regarded Daniel Jones as a good quarterback before this year?
I mean, again, if I would have told you that the Indianapolis Colts finished the season with 8 wins, they have 8 wins right now, I think all of us would have said, like, that's a phenomenal job by Shane Steichen.
Yeah.
I really do.
I agree. And, I mean, I see the people saying, I mean, Geno Smith might be an option for the Colts next year, but if you're the Colts, you definitely want Kyler over Geno.
But, I mean, if you could just sign Geno.
I still might rather trade a 5th-round pick for Kyler. Because the Colts,
Fair.
They're still in technically win-now mode. They traded for Sauce Gardner. They have one of the best offensive lines in the NFL. They have a top 5 running back, if not the best running back in the NFL in Jonathan Taylor. Their defense isn't bad.
I don't know. We were gonna do today was like National Pastry Day, and don't get me wrong, y'all know how much we love talking about food. But then I don't know. I was like, I feel like we have to talk about I think the biggest story in the NFL today is Phillip Rivers.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, we got to talk about it. I know Tuna would have won too. Aiden, breaking news: AOC wins the
Ballon d'Or. It's the best soccer player in the world.
Cool. I'm glad you knew. I have no idea.
Raider. Davis Mills already signed an extension, so the Colts would have to trade for him. The Texans are not going to trade Davis Mills in division and have to play him twice.
Correct.
They're just not going to do that.
Because, again, you don't want to help your division rival. Even if you got draft capital. Like Davis Mills, I think, has shown this year that pretty good quarterback. I could see Burrow and the Rams making a deal.
They don't have enough.
I mean, what again, like, I don't
think they have enough draft.
What do you think Joe Burrow goes for in a trade? Like, if it's anything less than 5 first-round picks.
And also,
like,
it shouldn't play a factor, but, it's the human element of it all. You think the Bengals brass, their ownership, their GM, they're going to be like, you know what? You know who we should help? That team that beat us in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Fans would riot if you traded Joe Burrow to the team that beat you in the Super Bowl, that beat him in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, now if Sean McVay's like, what do you want for Joe Burrow?
I would say if the Rams wanted that, I would say this. I want all your picks the next 3 years and Sean McVay.
That's fun.
All your picks the next 2 or 3 years and Sean McVay deal.
That'd be fun. Again, but then the Rams wouldn't. I don't think the Rams. Yeah,
exactly. It's not going to happen.
We're talking about arm wrestling a unicorn or Bigfoot. It's like, Justine, Geno takes a sack because he quits. He accepts defeat. I don't totally disagree with you. I think he's already mentally beat before the snap even happens. But I see it on tape. Chugs and I have been talking about it for a few weeks. I mean, Jeremy's been saying it to me for a month, 2 months plus, that Geno, when he has the opportunity to get rid of the ball, he doesn't do it, because I really think he cares about his QBR, his passer rating, his stats. And at the end of the day, I honestly think that Geno is oh, well, I get sacked all the time. That's why I'm doing really bad. My offensive line does really bad. But from watching the tape against the Denver game, and it's again why I'm kind of nervous about this Philly game, our offensive line played well against Denver. They did. You can't tell me otherwise. The amount of sacks that Geno takes, they are a lot of unnecessary sacks. Can't tell me otherwise. If you had a quarterback, and look at Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett ain't nothing special. Kenny Pickett's pocket awareness, pocket mobility, and just the ability to manipulate the pocket and somewhat use his threat of his legs, compared to what we've seen from Geno Smith this season, I mean, the Raiders would be a better team if they played Kenny Pickett and Aiden O'Connell, and I don't really know if you could tell me otherwise. What up, Oscar? Anyone but Geno starting on Sunday, I'm cheering. I want Geno Smith to be the only quarterback that the Raiders start, because if you start Geno Smith, we will lose. You start Geno Smith the next 4 weeks, I guarantee you we will lose those games. I want the number 1 overall pick. That's what I want. And because I want the number 1 overall pick, we're going to get a brand new head coach. They're going to fire Pete Carroll's ass, and which means let's talk about the top coaching candidates for the Las Vegas Raiders. When I get done doing this next segment, we will do a duck race, so this is your final opportunity. If you could just show the Venmo one more time. $10 Venmo at Mitchell Renz 365. You could scan the QR code, get out your phone, hover over it with your camera, click on that bad boy, send $10 to me, and right now you'd have the opportunity to win $60 on today's show. I see Victor Lobos, Christian, Gabriel, Richard Engel. I also see the Weldinator's got a bunch. Philip Bogert, L.A. Crash Dog. So again, $10 Venmo for a chance to win $60 at the end of today's show. Sound good? If you don't know what a duck race is, you're definitely new to the program, but I think you're going to have a good time. You guys ready to talk about some top head coach candidates? I know I'm ready to do this. I've been looking forward to this segment all day. I've been looking forward to it all day. You ready to rock? Y'all ready to rock? Coming up, let's talk about the top 10 head coaches that I want for the Las Vegas Raiders. Raider Nation, what's going on? It's Mitchell Renz, your host of the Raiders Report. And coming up on today's show, Pete Carroll will be fired at the end of this season. Whether you want to look up Pete Carroll replacements or whether you want to look up who's going to be the next Las Vegas Raiders head coach, I got you covered here. Because on today's show, the Silver and Black, I believe they're going to have the number 1 overall pick. I believe all 10 of the coaches that you see on today's program would be interested in coaching this team if you had the number 1 pick. If you don't have the number 1 pick, I'll be honest, I don't know if any 10 of these people are going to be interested in this job. So today, I have ranked them from 10 all the way down to 1. 1 being the person that I want the most. But I'll tell you this, I would take all 10 of these guys over Pete Carroll, and I wouldn't even bat an eye about it. But if you want the Raiders to move on from Pete, and I'll say it like this, because I feel bad for yelling at a 74-year-old head coach that I do think is doing the best that he possibly can, and he was once clearly a legendary head coach, but it's just clearly has passed him by. Pete, I want you to step down, and I want you to step down because I honestly think it's the best thing for you. I think it's the best thing for the Raiders. I think it's best for both sides. But if you're not willing to step down, then you're damn right. I'm going to sit up here and I'm going to go, it's time to fire Pete Carroll. If you feel the exact same way, I hope you hit that like button. Let's go to number 10 here on my Raiders head coach candidates list. Jeff Hafley, the defensive coordinator for the Green Bay Packers. Now, he has been the defensive coordinator for Green Bay the past 2 seasons. There's been some interesting reports around the head coach LaFleur, and maybe the Packers could move on from LaFleur. I don't really think that it's going to happen. But Hafley does come from a little bit of that Sean McVay tree. And Y'all know how much I love Sean McVay. I would give up Max Crosby for Sean McVay in a trade if it's what it took to go get the best head coach in the National Football League. But he was also the Boston College head coach from 2020 to 2023. A little bit of experience there. Really, I think, helped build that program be the best that it possibly could be in the new NIL realm. Only 46 years old, so he's not super young, but he's kind of in that nice little sweet spot for some people, and he's been coaching in college and in the NFL since 2001. He's number 10 on my list. Let's go to number 9 on my Raiders head coach candidates for 2026, Mike Tomlin. Currently the head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers, and putting Tomlin at 9 here, I couldn't believe that I did it, but I think it just also shows how many solid head coaches there are right now in this current carousel, and it's why you can't afford to go into the next season with Pete Carroll. He is currently the Steelers head coach, and he's been the Steelers head coach since 2007, and has never had a losing season. A career record of 198, 124, and 2 ties, which Chugs probably loves. Super Bowl 43 champion, but the problem is he hasn't won a playoff game since 2016. I am a believer that Pittsburgh and Tomlin are going to have that mutual split because I think both sides just want a fresh start. But I'll say this because I said it so many times last year, and people were like, Mitch, why do you want Mike Vrabel to be the Raiders' next head coach? I wanted Mike Vrabel because I didn't think that there were 32 people on this planet that were a better head coach than Mike Vrabel. And I don't think that there are 32 people on this planet that are a better head coach than Mike Tomlin. He's a defensive-minded guy, and he's going to demand respect. And I think that he would be able to get a solid OC, a solid DC. And I think Mike Tomlin with the Las Vegas Raiders would be a really, really good fit. Let's go to number 8 here on my show, Joe Brady, offensive coordinator for the Buffalo Bills. If I actually had to guess, I'm going to be a believer that some people are like, man, I expected Joe Brady to be a little bit higher on your list, Mitch. And I kind of expected it too, but there's a lot of good candidates here. Offensive coordinator for the Buffalo Bills right now, and he's been the Bills OC since 2024. He was also the interim in 2023. Former Panthers offensive coordinator in 2020, 2021. He was also the LSU pass game coordinator when Joe Burrow was down there in LSU, and I think it's the greatest college football team I've ever seen, without a doubt. It's the greatest offense that has ever blessed college football. He's only 36 years old. And if you want the Raiders to draft a Fernando Mendoza, a Dante Moore, maybe even trade for a Cam Ward, if you don't know what I'm talking about, go watch my draft plan video. But when Josh Allen says something like, he's been awesome for my career, I also would wonder, could you have Joe Brady and could you bring in somebody like Brian Dable to be your offensive coordinator, a duo that really helped make Josh Allen the best version of himself. Allen was clearly talented, but we need a guy who is proven that can show, has that track record, that can get the most out of a quarterback. And if you want to go Fernando Mendoza, I think Joe Brady and Brian Dable would actually be a sneaky, sneaky duo that would take this Raiders job. Let's go to number 7 here on my Raiders head coach candidates video, Robert Saleh. There are certain people that I think get the raw end of the deal. And when you coach the New York Jets, when you're a part of a bad organization, you're not going to look the best that you possibly can. Saleh is a very well-respected defensive-minded coach. He's a very well-liked coach. He comes from the Shanahan tree. But I look at what that 49ers team looks like with all the injuries that they've had. And don't get me wrong, Shanahan is one of the best in the biz. But Saleh also has shown you that he is a really, really solid coach. And I think that the way that this would end up going down is very similar to Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn got an opportunity to be the head coach in Atlanta. Didn't really go maybe the way that they were hoping. Obviously, they blew that 28-3 game. Then he gets another opportunity to be the defensive coordinator for the Dallas Cowboys. Now he's the head coach of the Commanders. I get the Commanders are having a bad year this year. They've had a lot of injuries. They've had unluckiness, no doubt about it. But Dan Quinn, that first year that he took over, helped get Washington to the NFC Championship game. I think Robert Saleh is kind of in that same boat where he's a very well-liked and respected coach. You better bring him in for an interview. I'm not just saying that because of the Rooney Rule. I will say this, though. If you don't know what the Rooney Rule is, you have to at least interview 2 coaches, candidates that are a minority. And I think Mike Tomlin, Robert Saleh are 2 coaches that deserve this job. And I think that they're 2 coaches that you would bring in for an interview. I would also even entertain the idea of giving an interview to Patrick Graham. Not because I think that he would honestly get the job, but if you're the Raiders and if PG were to get hired elsewhere, again, I don't think it's going to happen, you can get some extra of those draft picks. So just wanted to be able to throw that out there because I actually still like PG, and I would love for us to be able to retain him, even though I don't think it's going to happen. Let's go to number 6 here on my list for Raiders head coach candidates. I'm going to put Mike McCarthy here higher than Mike Tomlin. And I'm going to put Mike McCarthy a little bit higher on this list because I think McCarthy was sabotaged by Jerry Jones. And it's really hard to do your job when you have to deal with an owner like Jerry Jones. And, it's very similar. Like, maybe McCarthy wouldn't want to come here because he just dealt with a bad owner in Jones, doesn't want to have to deal with a bad owner in Mark Davis. But like I said about Tomlin, you can't convince me that there are 32 people on this planet that are a better head coach than Mike McCarthy. And if I can't get a young, innovative guy, I want to get somebody with a proven track record. Super Bowl champion, has worked with multiple great quarterbacks. I think it would be a great combination with John Spytek, with Tom Brady. A offensive-minded head coach that could go out and get a good OC that can help you build a good overall coaching staff. And again, somebody that has done a lot of winning, 174, 112-2. And just like everything I said about Tom, I want to be clear. My top 5 head coaches are obviously going to be young guys that I want to be able to build with the future. If you can't get somebody that's young, and you can't get one of my top 5 guys, if you go out and you get somebody like a Mike McCarthy, you go out and get somebody like a Mike Tomlin, I believe what I said last year about Vrabel to be true, and I believe in Mike McCarthy, and I believe in Mike Tomlin that they could be able to build something here with the Las Vegas Raiders. Though, coming up on this show, my top 5 head coaches that I want for the silver and black. And I love the coaches on this video. Again, I've done this video every single year for the past 6 years, and I can't remember being more excited, more motivated for the coaches that are in this video compared to all the other years, because I actually think for the first time, if we have the number 1 overall pick, we will be able to get that Mike Vrabel. We will be able to get that Ben Johnson. If you don't have the number 1 overall pick, I don't think you're getting any of these next 5 coaches that I'm about to talk about. Now, before I tell you who they are, today's show sponsored by Prize Picks, America's number 1 fantasy sports app out there. I love Prize Picks. Chugs loves Prize Picks. And with the holiday season here, it's the best time of the year for sports. Bowl games, basketball matchup, playoff pushes, it's all happening at once. And while you and I are out here making decisions every day of maybe what gifts to buy, what to eat, which games to watch, there's one place where it feels good to be right. And on Prize Picks, how you play is up to you. If you want flexibility, you could choose a flex play where you can get paid even if one of your picks misses. And if you want the biggest payouts, go for the power play. So for me, I went power play, and I did a flex play when the Raiders played the Broncos. My flex play only was 4 out of 6, but my power play, I turned $5 into $35. I'll give you a little bit of a sneak peek on my success. When it comes to the Raiders, go less. And then when it comes to the team that they're playing, go more. I'm going to build another lineup like this, and I've had a lot of success going with this route. I don't even think it's necessarily rocket science. But Prize Picks now offers stacks, which you can pick the same player up to 3 times. You can join millions of users. You can also follow me on Prize Picks. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use code CLNS to be able to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. Let's get into number 5 here. I'm going to go Mike LaFleur, offensive coordinator for the Rams. Out of all the coaches on this show, I would say Joe Brady and Mike LaFleur were the 2 most difficult for me to rank because I love the coaching trees that they come from. I respect them as coaches. And to me, I'm going to be a sucker for anybody that works for Sean McVay. And he's been the Rams OC since 2023. He was the Jets OC from 2021 to 2022, and he did not do a good job in New York. But again, it's like, is it a New York problem? Is it a Mike LaFleur problem? One thing to be said, Sean McVay is the one that calls plays, and I think the riskiest hire you could do out of this entire video is Mike LaFleur. I want to be very, very clear on that. But I also sit back and I go, he's from the Kyle Shanahan tree. He's from the Sean McVay tree. He's 38 years old. He's been coaching in college football in the NFL since 2009. And I just have a hard time believing that a coach that's been working as the OC underneath Sean McVay is not going to be able to come up with some young, innovative stuff. What I'm about to say might scare you. I've had some people say this could be the next Josh McDaniels. Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't. But to me, I will bet on somebody from the Sean McVay tree because it's proven that it's worked. And that's why he's number 5 on my list. Let's go to number 4 here. It's Brian Flores. And I love Brian Flores as a coach, man. Every time I watch Flores, he like the way that he coaches a defense is the way that I would coach a defense. He's coming at you. He's not going to sit back. He's going to bring the blitz. He's going to bring the pressure. He's going to try to make you uncomfortable. And he's been the Minnesota Vikings defensive coordinator since 2023. He was Miami's head coach in 2019 and 2021. But if you don't remember how that whole situation ended up going down, I encourage you to look it up. I think Flores kind of got the raw end of the deal. I also remember that there was the whole story with Flores, Tom Brady, Stephen Ross on a yacht. And I, a few years ago, said that I don't think that Flores and Brady have a good relationship. From what I understand, Flores and Brady, they are good. And the reason why I bring up this next note here is because we know how much connections matter, and connections matter in the NFL. I know that the word connection scares people because of everything Pete Carroll and McDaniels used to do, but he was the Patriots assistant and coach from 2008 to 2018 when Tom Brady was there. And I do have Brian Flores ranked a little bit higher because of who I would want him to bring with him. I would want Flores to give a shot to Josh McCown. Josh McCown, former NFL quarterback. He is right now the pass game coordinator there in Minnesota, but he's worked underneath Kevin O'Connell, who has been able to show you that he's been able to get a lot out of quarterbacks. And I know McCarthy's struggling, but I mean, Sam Darnold looked right there. Kirk Cousins looked right there. I believe in Josh McCown, not only because he is an NFL quarterback and very well respected, but he also comes from that Sean McVay tree, because Kevin McConnell, Sean McVay tree. So to me, you go out and you get a guy who's been able to prove, Brian Flores, that I actually think he can be a good head coach, because that team he took over in Miami was one of the worst teams in ever. And I know people probably hate that I'm about to say this, but like, you know, when I first started working here at Chat Sports, I had to cover multiple teams because I was trying to help this company grow. And one of the teams that I covered early on was the Miami Dolphins. And I remember sitting up there going, like, Flores is a good coach. It's just this team is shit. And the ownership group wasn't really giving him a lot to work with. I think that they tried to make him fail. So if you get Brian Flores, a great defensive-minded guy, and then you go out and you could bring in a guy like Josh McCown, I really think Raider fans would love what Brian Flores could bring to the table. And I know he can work with Tom Brady. This is where, if we get any one of these top three guys, I'm going to put a hole in this freaking table. I'm going to go Jesse Minter, defensive coordinator from the Los Angeles Chargers. Not only can you steal somebody from Jim Harbaugh and somebody from our AFC West rival, but like, Minter to me has worked underneath so many great coaches, and he clearly has it figured out. Like, he is a smart football mind. Currently defensive coordinator for the Chargers, has worked with Jim and John Harbaugh since 2017. He was the Michigan defensive coordinator in 2022 to 2023 when they won the national championship. He's only 42 years old, has Michigan ties to Brady and Spytech, but I think this, and it's because we got some good sources here close to Michigan, I think he's going to get hired as the next Michigan head coach. And I do wonder, it's like, what's a better job? Next Michigan head coach or the Las Vegas Raiders head coach? I think if you were to ask Minter that and people close to Minter, I think he would pick Michigan. And I don't even know if I would blame him all that much. But I look at coaching trees, and you also have to remember, like, the number one name that I've heard this coaching cycle is Jesse Minter. Just like last year, the number one name that I heard was Mike Vrabel. The Raiders were after Ben Johnson. They were after Mike Vrabel. I guarantee you this. Jesse Minter is somebody that Tom Brady, John Spytech are looking at. They might have to throw the kitchen sink at him, but to me, I would love Jesse Minter as our next head coach. Let's go to number 2 here on my list. Chris Shula, defensive coordinator for the Los Angeles Rams. And typically when I've done this show, I have put offensive-minded guys ranked a lot higher. So I think some people might be surprised that I got a DC, and a DC. The only reason why I got DCs here is because we'll show you who number 1 here is in just a moment. But he's the Rams defensive coordinator for the past 2 seasons and has worked with Sean McVay since 2017. Football is all this guy knows. And when you look at a lot of the reports, a lot of the people around the Rams organization, Chris Shula is regarded as Sean McVay 2.0. Grandson of coaching legend Don Shula from the Miami Dolphins, right? 39 years old, has been coaching in college football in the NFL since 2010. It's like some guys are just bred with it. Like some guys are literally just brought up to be football-minded guys. And I do really, truly believe that he could be the next Sean McVay. I like offensive-minded guys, so that's why he's ranked number 2. And the only reason why Chris Shula is ranked number 2 is because I want the Raiders to draft a young franchise quarterback. And I believe if you draft a young franchise quarterback, going out and getting an offensive-minded head coach is the way to do it. If the Raiders told me, hey, Mitch, we're not going to draft a quarterback, I will put Chris Shula at number 1, I would put Jesse Minter at number 2, and I would put this guy here at number 3. But because I want the Raiders to draft a QB, number 1 here for my Raiders head coach candidates is Clint Kubiak. And to me, if you're going to go out and draft that QB number 1, go get yourself an offensive coordinator that comes from a great coaching tree, and look at what he's doing in Seattle. Like, I know Sam Darnold was great last year with Kevin O'Connell, but Sam Darnold is also looking like the best version of himself with Clint Kubiak right now. And Chuck said it may be better. I kind of agree. I think he might look even better right now in Seattle. But with him having coaching currently, or formerly with Minnesota Vikings in 2021, he was with the Saints last year. And I know a lot of y'all watched Derek Carr in New Orleans. Like, Derek Carr looked good with the Saints until he ended up getting hurt. And the style of offense that Kubiak's going to run, I think, makes a lot of sense with 2 tight ends like Bowers and Mayer, with an offensive line of center of JPJ, Colt Miller, a few of the other pieces that we have, and a running back like Ashton Genty. Like, to me, that offense makes a lot of sense with Kubiak. Son of former Super Bowl winning head coach Gary Kubiak, another guy that's just been brought up. 38 years old, Kubiak ties, Shanahan ties, the current players that we have on our roster. And if you want to draft a quarterback at number 1 overall, I think Clint Kubiak is a slam dunk type of hire. And also related to Jeremy Chuggs. If you don't know, stepdad's cousin. So maybe we can get some inside scoops. Clint, love to be able to get you here on the Raiders Report. So I want the Raiders to move on from Pete. They're going to fire him at the end of the season. And I mean this, Mark Davis. I say this every single year. And if you would have listened to me in every single video that I've done for my Raiders head coach candidates, you would have never have hired Josh McDaniels. You would have never have hired Pete Carroll. You would never have hired, and I know that we were pulling for Antonio Pierce, but there were other coaches out there that we did have ranked higher than AP. It's a cold, hard fact. So if you want to take a screenshot of this, post it on IG, post it on Twitter, tag the Raiders, tag Mark Davis, tag anybody the hell you want to tag. I would greatly appreciate it, because to me, if you hire one of those top 10 guys, you will be a better football team. I don't think Pete Carroll is a top 100 living person on this planet for an NFL head coach. So why the hell are we going to keep him? Doesn't make any sense. You hire one of those top 10 guys, and I promise you this, with the draft picks that we have, with free agency, with the players we have on this roster, you can get this team going in the right direction in one offseason. It might take Antonio Pierce decades. It wouldn't take me, and it wouldn't take any of those head coaches to get this team on the right track.
Hey, have a quick deal for everybody, and it is urgent.
I'm listening.
Us at Chat Sports have fallen on a unfortunate situation. YouTube is AI reviewing our Dolphins channel for bogus claims of sexual nudity in one of our shorts. It is totally messed up. So I have a deal, and it's only going to happen right now here on the Raiders Report. I'm going to put a link to a tweet in the chat. Anybody who likes and retweets this tweet, I'm going to give you a free raffle ticket for the Max Crosby giveaway. Also, if you want to check production, because he wants that ASAP. I'm putting it in the chat right now. If you want a free Max Crosby raffle ticket right now, all you have to do, go to the tweet I just put in there, like it, retweet it. That's all you got to do.
I mean, what's very, very frustrating is the fact that this stuff can even happen, and I don't even know how it can happen, but like, what's really frustrating sometimes that YouTube does is, like, it doesn't show love to its content creators. It does, like, annoying things, like, again, like changing y'all's names. Like, I've learned so many people's names from doing this show.
I see Michael, I see Ronald, I see Doug have all retweeted it. I'm going to give y'all free raffle tickets. I'll put it in there one more time. If y'all want some free raffle tickets, all you got to do is go retweet and like that tweet that I just put in there. I know not everybody can super chat on the channel, so I'm giving y'all a free option right now. If you want a free raffle ticket, all you got to do is go like and retweet that tweet that I just put in there. Also, blame Geno.
Blame Geno. You know what? I actually think I'm going to do that instead.
I see Amon S. Brar Joe Glisson, Joshua Martinez. I see Michael Hines, Timothy Acker, Ryan Vargas.
That ticks me off, man.
Appreciate the help, guys. It's annoying, and I don't want to be asking y'all to do this and help us out, but I feel like we kind of have to. And it's annoying. And
think of it like this. Like, I would want our Dolphins guy. I would want anybody here at Chat Sports if it happened to me. Because, if YouTube does some stupid stuff like that, it could put your YouTube channel at jeopardy. And if I lost the Raiders Report YouTube channel, I literally don't know what I would do. I literally do not know what I would do. Yeah. If they lose out, they will have the number 1 overall pick. Who are these people?
Captain Steve Forch, you want to make a Twitter and just quote and retweet that? Cool. If it's too much, I know. Sometimes it's a little hard. Giggity. Geno and Pete are petty enough to beat Philadelphia.
Yikes. Uh-oh. All right, YouTube just messaged us. I just tweeted that Team YouTube, so I don't know if that's why. Again, y'all, appreciate it. Appreciate it. Oh, man. No, it has nothing to do with petty. Again, those guys are trying to save their jobs. But I think, again, I've seen so many Raider fans be like, the Raiders are going to win a meaningless game. We've never been as bad as what we are now, but the offensive line, it playing better, does give us a shot. And with how many turnovers Philly committed the other day, could have been a shot. Let's go to Hoffy. Rams could trade Stafford and all the picks.
No, because Stafford's basically done.
Stafford's old. Stafford, all of the picks. Again, we're talking about unicorns here, but Stafford, all the picks. Jared Verse, Puka Nacua for Joe Burrow.
Duvall, I see LA Crash Dog. I see more people helping us out in there. Tom Davis. It's under the Chat Sports Twitter. But appreciate y'all. And honestly, this does show the power of Raider Nation, because I'm not even lying. 5 minutes ago, no response from YouTube. As soon as all y'all did that, as soon as y'all got the word out, YouTube just, not even 10 seconds ago, messaged us back. So if you don't think that y'all make a difference in helping us with this, with stuff around the Raiders organization, if you don't think that y'all together, y'all's voices get loud, this is proof right there.
Yeah, honestly, guys, YouTube's already responded to us. They said they're going to look into it, and again, I don't understand why their bots do what they do. I get they can't do certain things, but very, very frustrating. I just saw Rustin Long, Miggy Camacho, Richard Kelly. Rustin, I got you in for $2. $10 Venmo right now for a chance to win $80 on this program. I also don't mean to rush some of y'all, but I said I got to get out of here at 5 to check on Chuck. Yeah. So we just, you guys paid money. You paid your hard-earned money, but also I'm letting you know I gotta hurry up a little bit because I gotta get to Chuck. If the Texans send Mills to Indy, Chugs, maybe they'll stop giving you hell about benching CJ. Also, what about it, AOC? I actually think AOC would be a really intriguing option for the Indianapolis Colts. In all honesty, he's on 1 year left of his deal. He's $1.2 million. If I was Aiden O'Connell, I would demand Indianapolis maybe to give me just a little bit of a contract extension in order to do it, not to get too much money, but there's not too many backup quarterbacks out there that I think could do a better job for the price tag that Aiden O'Connell could do for a team like Indianapolis.
And it's a blessing and a curse by you, and you've been in my chat, so you know. love having a good backup quarterback because it
I
helps.
I might have been stoking the flame though.
You feel a lot better because you're like, oh, we have a backup quarterback. It's nice in case anything happens.
I've been telling people to send that to you.
Anytime C.J. Stroud struggles, immediately bench him, get him out of the game, immediately.
Right, immediately. All right, y'all. I am gonna do one more refresh here on my phone. Reminder: it's a $10 Venmo for a chance to win. As it stands right now, $80 here on the Raiders Report. I don't have anybody else on here. Greatly appreciate each and every one of y'all. 3, 2, 1. Let's get it going. Let's get it going.
Bayou, yeah. Gotta love the fans. And it sucks because no matter what I say, Bayou, I'm always wrong. If I back CJ Stroud, people are like, wow, you just back CJ no matter what. Da-da-da-da-da. And I literally tweeted out Sunday night, CJ Stroud's not playing well. People, bro, you're a CJ hater, bro. All you do is hate on CJ Stroud. No matter what I do, I can't win. And I've accepted that.
Again, I think a lot of times YouTube's like restaurant reviews. Like you don't have too often somebody's like, man, I'm going to leave a review after that great time.
He said it's like talking to your wife.
Your words, not mine. Your words, not mine. You might not always. I have a shirt for Alex. It's I might not always be right, but I'm never wrong. The Weldinator! Oh, Crash Dog, you just ran out of juice. You just ran out of juice. So, Weldinator had 5. Everybody else had 2 or less. So, congratulations to the Weldinator. Congrats. Congrats.
All right. Mitch has got to get out of here. Oh, needed that.
Needed it.
It's been in my you ever just feel like you need to burp and it's just in your chest?
All the time. I feel like I burp on this show so much, which is why honestly I love Hal Water. New sponsor here. Honestly, it's a game changer though. I told Chugs like an idiot I threw away my cap.
Yeah. If y'all want 10%, I'll put that link in the chat for you here in just a moment. But yeah, I'm actually going to an event for them tonight.
I typically do live shows on Wednesdays after the presser. I am going to try to do one at home, but again, I know I've said it a few times this week. I got jury duty tomorrow, so I will try to get you guys something tomorrow. I've never done jury duty. I have no idea what the hell to anticipate, so just keep that in mind.
And Curtis, I see your super chat. You said basically he wants us to hire Clint Kubiak, get Fernando Mendoza, sign Wyatt Teller and Braden Smith in free agency, which that's all stuff that Mitch exactly wants to do. He wants to draft Mendoza. He wants to get a offensive-minded quarterback or offensive-minded head coach, and then he wants to get beefed-up offensive line.
Yeah, so like I know JPJ wants to play center, but I do wonder, like, could you sign Tyler Lindenbaum, put him at center, put JPJ at one of your guard positions? Like, to me, that is a unbelievable offensive line. But that plan you put together in there, Curtis, that's a winning football team.
Yeah.
That's a win. Like, that's a team where, again, I'm not going to say they're going to go to the playoffs year one. That team's winning at minimum 8 games. I would do some sus shit for an 8-win season this year. Holy shit. Seriously, y'all, I love each and every one of y'all. Shout out to the Weldinator, today's MVP. I will see you guys hopefully tomorrow. If my jury duty, again, I don't know what to expect. I will try to get you guys a live video after the presser. No matter what, you will be hanging out with us. It's not a great game on Thursday. It's Falcons.
Bucks.
Again, not the best football game, but I hope that you guys pull up. I hope that you guys are ready to have some fun on Thursday. I know I'm ready to have some fun on Thursday. I can't wait to do it. So for my guy Chugs, I'll make sure I tell Chuck all y'all said hi. Entire chat sports team. And again, thank you all so much for helping us out with that YouTube issue. YouTube has already hit us up. It's why I think that this channel is so much more than a channel. We've been able to build an amazing, amazing community, and I hope that you guys all show love to each other each and every single day down there in the comments. Peace out, and enjoy your Tuesday.